Hello and welcome to the Nexus Rumble. Yes, we are here on the Heroes Lounge channel. We have got a fantastic series here of the Laser Sharks versus German Efficiency. But I'm not alone tonight. I am with the wonderful Karis. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fabulously transparent. I'm looking forward to potentially two very exciting series tonight. Kicking off, as you say, with Laser Sharks versus German Efficiency very soon.
Yeah, these two teams, they're both Division 5. They're both towards the top of Division 5, but neither have yet to face each other. So this could be a match that maybe they'll have in round 10, or perhaps going forward, they may well have the chance to play them in the playoffs, of course, which is just around the corner, is it not, Karis?
It is indeed. The playoffs will commence, or the group stages for the playoffs will commence as soon as the round stages for divisions end on, I believe, the 9th of November, so in a couple of weeks from today.
Yes, in just 2 weeks' time, we'll have the lovely draw show, the EU Season 13 draw show, where many teams will be picked out of sort of what's going to happen with the playoffs. These two teams could well face each other, but in this sense, we have the Nexus Rumble, and Laser Sharks came on top over a fierce fight with Furum und Era last week, and quite honestly, it was really impressive from both teams. And I expect German Efficiency will be putting out some super stylish moves as well today. We've sort of seen a lot of maps being played, but I think Cursed Hollow is actually one that we see less of, and this is where we've got to. We've actually got the map bans just to my here, right here, so you can see. That the blue team, Laser Sharks, banned out Alterac Pass and Sky Temple, whereas the red team banned out Braxis Holdout and Dragonshire, sort of those solo lane priority maps. But in the end, the challengers, German Efficiency, they have picked Cursed Hollow, so they've come here to take the Laser Sharks on and make sure they're taking them on their terms rather than the terms of their enemies.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting map pickup. Of course, this is a best of 3 series, so of course this is just the first game in potentially 3 to decide the lower rumble. And of course, don't forget, later on tonight we'll have the upper rumble where Food for Phrobius will try to retain their crown against an as yet unnamed contender. But back to today's match. I mean, yeah, you talked about exactly that Dragonshire ban, that Braxis ban. Obviously, German Efficiency not wanting to play on those solo lane dominated maps. Maybe what they're thinking is, because their opponents, of course, had would have had last pick. No, their opponents had first pick. They first pick, and they have the option maybe of getting something like a Gazlo or a Rexar, some of those really dominant solo lane heroes at the moment. So I think that may be the philosophy behind that. But of course, like you say, there's lots of different ways to play here on Cursed Hollow. It is generally a larger map. It probably will see more of a macro style, but there's nothing guaranteed in the Nexus, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I suppose, Dahaka doesn't quite have the value that he can get on most maps on Braxis Holdout. He can get a few cheeky things on Dragonshire, but often does get bullied out on the lane quite often. But here on Cursed Hollow, he's a high priority. So maybe they have a big Dahaka player that they're looking to pull out and just say, look, this is what we've got. This is how we're going to play it. We're going to take this forward and try and get that global advantage.
Yeah, and I think that is... Again, I mean, we may see that prioritization of the global heroes earlier in the draft, but that's not the only option. I mean, we talked about the Gazlo, for example. I mean, what do you make of Gazlo? He seems to be running amok in Storm League at the moment.
So,
are we going to see that replicated here in the Nexus Rumble?
Yeah, he's been really powerful, and I think there's the follow-up part of his kit has really sort of improved, and he's able to follow up on the tank CC as well as sort of dominate out those solo lanes like Braxis Holdout. I don't think we'll see him here on Cursed Hollow just yet, and often with the lower teams we saw sort of a bit of a latency with D.Va coming out with them as well, so maybe Gazlo's not quite a picked priority for them just yet, but I expect to see it much more later in the upper Nexus Rumble for sure.
Well, on that bombshell, I think we're going to head into the draft for game number 1. So let's head into the draft and see what happens here as we begin on Cursed Hollow. So we are in, and in a minute or two, we will have the option to bet on who you think will win game number 1. But for now, Transparent, where do we think these bands are going to go?
Yeah, so these bands, they are probably going to go... Oh, well, I've just had a quick scout of the German efficiency, and they have played Abathur a little bit, so these Sharks do need to watch out for that. Having that in charge will be, yeah, a bit of a pick, but they do have first pick, so it's a bit of a game right now because you can get first pick and you get a big priority hero like Imperius, which is really solid right now. But what can happen is you get a couple of other priority heroes let through, so you can have those 2-3 sort of power picks that maybe German efficiency will look for, like the Abathur, like a lot of other things that maybe can be improved upon.
I think we'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, so Diva's come out and been banned there, but I don't know. Is this? I don't know what they will go for. I mean, I guess the gas load could be banned. Just, I've heard there might be some bugs with the draft screen at the moment, but we're looking at.
I think I had an example screenshot up.
I'll be fixed very soon anyway. but that's the band, as we talked about the Diva that you mentioned. So far, kind of Meta, there's the Imperius to kind of conclude that thing. By the way, betting is now open, so you can bet on who you think will win game number 1 in this best of 3 series. Type bet A and the number of points to bet on Lazer Sharks, the current champions. But if you think the contenders will take the first game here, German efficiency, type bet space B space number. And the number is the number of points you want to bet, and you can see how many points you got by typing points.
Yeah, but we've had a big focus on the stun tanks, the main stun tanks here at the moment. It is certainly a priority of Imperius and ETC. Now that's a big priority, but we see Deckard Cain being the first pick here for Lazer Sharks. Now they do favour this in terms of support as well as German efficiency, so this is both a pick and a ban against the teams.
Okay, so I mean, Deckard Cain picked up by Deckard Cain is by Deckard Coin is not so surprising. But then you've got that Jaina Abathur in response. Jaina, yeah, I think that's a really juicy pickup. I mean, you don't see that going so early in the drafts so often. So that is something to keep an eye out for. And especially with the Abathur, I like the idea of you clone the Jaina, and because of the traits will work from the clone's damage as well, you get suddenly a lot of synergistic damage between Jaina and the Ultimate Evolution copy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit unusual that this Jaina Abathur combo has been around for forever, and you rarely see it these days. But it's really nice to have it come back, especially on a map like Curse-Hallowed. But it has been sort of countered by the Greymane, which is such a big priority pick as well on Curse-Hallowed because it's so good at taking up the camps.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll see from these teams as priority on those camps, and that's something that Greymane can definitely deliver on. One thing I was going to say is actually about the Jaina. German efficiency in the division stages have an 80% win rate with that Jaina. So Black Dragon 7 definitely knows what they're doing with that Jaina. So that's something that I think their opponents here, the champions, Lazer Sharks, have to watch out for.
Yeah, and the Tracer being banned out shows that maybe they've done a little bit of homework as well of their own. Tracer is one of those things that can be so irritating, and especially on a map like Curse-Hallowed, finding those picks off in the side lanes against maybe something that's just not quite prepared, like a Deckard Cain who can't really deal with Tracer at all. So really well done here from the Lazer Sharks. But what they weren't expecting is Tracer 2.0, or Lucio as we like to call him here.
Yeah, I love to see that. That's really works really nicely with that Abathur. What we'll see here is quite an aggressive style of healer. He's going to be all up in their grill, giving out some serious beats. While he's doing that, he'll have a hat from the big slug. He'll be spitting out venom at his opponent. So that's really nice little pickup there from Nephilah. I think that'll really help the draft move into diving onto that Deckard, diving onto that Mephisto as well, as we were talking about.
Yeah, so Mephisto and Sonya, these are two sort of aggressive backlining, damaging hero. So we could see a bit of diving here, but I think what they lack a little bit right now is that lockdown that maybe they can try and get on the Lucio. You have the Blessed Shield, which can bounce to him, especially after level 20. It's impactful to get a good bounce onto the Lucio. So if they can follow up with some damage from the Mephisto, from the Sonya, maybe they can take him out swiftly before he gets to break it down. But equally, they're going to have to deal with a Cassia, who's going to probably try and shred through those frontline heroes as well.
Yeah, I think the Cassia. So this is a really interesting way of going with this Abathur draft. Is so when you go Jaina Abathur, one of the problems you have is you don't have sustain damage. You've got a very huge amount of burst, but you don't have that consistent sustain if you take it and say, a Vala with Abathur or a Reyna with Abathur. So they've gone for, instead of going for a hard bruiser offlaner, they've gone for the Cassia, who's a bit, who's a fair bit more damagey, but obviously might not provide that control that maybe another bruiser would provide for Sonya, for Greymane. So a lot of pressure on the front line here of Muradin, and actually to a certain extent Lucio, to provide the peel, to provide the control if Sonya and Greymane come in looking for trouble.
Yeah, and these backliners will hit hard, and they will be getting those camps on cooldown. So without that sort of bruiser pressure, as you said, the drone efficiency sort of lack in this draft. It's going to be a tough one to clear out those camps and make sure you rotate quick enough. But if they've got experience with Abathur, they've played it 3 games before, I'm sure they can do well. But we'll head into game number 1 here, Karis.
We will indeed. Welcome to game number 1 on Cursed Hollow. On the left in blue, make some noise in the chat for the current champions, the Lazer Sharks, with Commissar 16 playing Sonya, with Deckard Coin playing Deckard Cain, with Bargui playing Mephisto, with Pluck playing Greymane, and Tumpa Boy on Joanna.
Yep, and on the red team, we have German Efficiency with Kayuza on that Cassia, Booza on Abathur, Nephila on Lucio, Classics on Muradin, and Black Dragon 7 on Jaina.
So straight away, the team's getting their level 1 talents in. So it's interesting to see the Thunderstroke from Cassia, that infinitely stacking Lightning Fury talent, was allowed her to keep stacking. So expecting a lot of brawling, I suspect, over those tributes, and that's why Cassia's gone towards that. And of course, Muradin with the same idea, going for the Perfect Storm on level 1.
Yeah, these people just trying to stack up as much damage so that maybe they can break through. Once they get that Abathur Ultimate Evolution, they'll be looking for those quick fights once they've popped the clone to be able to dominate any sort of additional damage to come through their weight.
And so immediately the team's going to their lane. Sonya up in the top lane. Currently not against anybody except the Abathur. The Abathur will be able to capture that soak, though. And Mephisto in the bottom versus Kasua's Cassia. But that's going to get so confusing to say as the game goes on at the bottom lane. But in the mid lane, you've still got the 3v3 there. Of course, Abathur can help out that 3v3 at any time with a hat. So it gives a little bit more flexibility. But of course, Sonya can start to really push onto that top tower if nobody goes up there to contest her.
Yeah, and we see that the blue team here are going straight for their bruiser camp, maybe prioritizing a little bit so they can get that global pressure with their siege camp later. Yeah, but the red team, on the other hand, moving over to their siege camp instead.
Yeah, so this is a typical strategy on Cursed Hollow here. So they were trying to put the siege camp. Typically, if your siege camp is in the same lane as the tribute at the start, the teams often want to capture that early so that it's respawning as soon as possible. Whereas if it's opposite the tribute, as it is for the blue team, they want to save that, and for when the tribute is up, so it'll be running opposite, and the teams will have to choose which they deal with, and that's why they've gone for the bruiser camp on the side of Lazer Sharks.
Yeah, and we see there's sort of a little bit of a fight in the middle. Tomperboy maybe going in trying to peel off sort of classics, but no, Pluck not able to get a decent amount of damage here. As they're sort of trying to get some push in the mid lane, but it sort of doesn't really come to anything as Jaina sort of easily clears it out with Muradin stepping so far forward.
So level 4 talents are in for both of these teams. So you've got a potion of shielding from Deckard. So going for these the shields on the potions, that's slightly unorthodox. You don't see that so often. Possibly a bit more these days since the change to Ruby. But Reverb picked up by Muradin on the other side, having more attack speed control for Greymane and hoping to get his ultimate cooldown faster.
Yeah, and we sort of saw here at the top that Sonya was here, but she wasn't pushing the lane in. She wanted to deny Abathur any sort of soak, and they've got a tiny little advantage, but it's not very good. But right now, both teams positioning hard at the bottom here, as we saw a little bit of a gate damage coming in from the early siege camp from the red team, opening up for any sort of chase kills. But right now, they are a man disadvantage, of course. They have the Abathur, so they're going to have to try and stall for this level 10, as Commissar 16 on the Sonya is waiting in the wings, goes in onto the Classics, tries to get the delay on the channel, but Classics able to get it. The Decker Cane triangle comes out, but not able to root anyone, as Classics is trying to walk away as deftly as possible and doesn't manage to do so, while the blue team is still trying to position further forward.
So immediately Muradin gets picked off by that hard engage and a lot of follow-up damage there from the Mephisto and the Greymane to secure that Muradin kill. So really nicely executed there from the blue team, and that's sort of exactly what they need, because of course German efficiency didn't want a hard fight there. They wanted to slow it and keep poking and just keep Abathur soaking in the other lanes. Of course, that couldn't go on forever, and that's how Muradin was the first to fall, making it 1 kill to 0 so far in this game. And these siege chats at the top are starting to get some serious work done, because Abathur is not there to help. So Lucio goes in, will start to push those away when he can. And he has picked up a reverse amp at level 7 for the hero damage, not going, as I briefly flirted with the idea of the shield on the Q, the good vibrations, which would have synergized with off the wall at level 4.
Yeah, we're a big fan of the Lucio tank talent build, almost, where you can get that shield on the level 7 with Lucio indefinitely, and it can just keep stacking up, and it actually not too bad. But in all, reverse amp can also help out a lot. But we have a little bit of a fight here. We see Commissar 16 getting picked out by Classics. Nephilim is on the chase, gets the damage from the reverse amp and the slow, and Black Dragon 7 is able to pick up the kill as the Jaina. But meanwhile, the blue team have been pushing in on the middle, trying to open up the middle fort. But this is a good opportunity for a team. They've got a kill pre-10, and now they're looking to pick up this first tribute. Yeah,
it's a long time till Sonya's back up, so should be a free tribute here, picked up nicely by German efficiency. Nice little pick on Sonya, I think. And the other thing, the other resource they baited out was the medallion from Sonya. That's going to be on cooldown for a long, long time. And I think that's something that Sonya may come to regret, is having used that, because when the first kind of post-10 fights start in a couple of minutes, Sonya still won't have access to that medallion. And of course, Deckard Cain does not have a cleanse. A question from the chat was, do Division 1 and 2 teams participate in the Nexus Rumble? Yes, they do, and we'll have the upper Rumble later on tonight in maybe an hour or an hour and a half.
Oh, and we see a takeout here from Muradin with those DPS talents. A potion was able to be picked up by Bargui, but the second one being tossed out by Deckard Coin was not able to be sipped away at. So we see a bit of an advantage here on the red team. They have the level 10, and they're looking to get the second tribute for them. This seems pretty good in terms of a momentum for an Abathur comp in this situation.
The question is, what else do they buy with this kill and 10 combination? And if it's just a tribute, that's not a huge result for them. I suspect they may try to take their boss as well. They haven't moved towards it so far. And of course, if they do go for it, we may see Laser Sharks responding by going for their own boss. But no, neither team going for the boss. Despite that kill and 10 advantage, the red team deciding, actually, let's just go mid, make sure we clear that bruiser camp, because we know from all the damage we've already taken what can happen if we leave that bruiser camp unattended.
Yep, so here they go to push in. Laser Sharks pushing in against German efficiency. Both Division 5 teams looking to try and get a bit of a combo here, but Mephisto just misses, and Tompa Boy is able to walk back as well. So we have a bit of a heroic cooldown here, but it's not that long. There's only 40 seconds left, but in 30 seconds there's going to be a new tribute, Karis.
There is going to be a new tribute, and this is curse point. If German efficiency capture it, there'll be a curse against their opponents. Yeah, I mean, this is where the big fight's going to happen, surely. We've got the 5v5. Everyone's still alive. The Durance of Hate was used in that push, but it's going to be back up in another 20 seconds. So I don't think the blue team are too worried about that. But we may see them stall for that 15 seconds. No, Joanna goes in, starts to put pressure onto Classics on the Muradin, but he pops the Avatar. He's not too worried just now. Graham is coming a long way in, takes a bouncing ball from Cassia, falls down to 240 HP, and plus just about gets away here. Stay a while and listen onto 3 members, onto 4 members. This is massive here, Transparent.
Yeah, and with the quest complete from Johanna, she's going to be getting advantage, but Commissar 16 is trying to walk away. The Jaina clone is out, and Commissar 16 is going to get blown up considerably with the sound barrier coming out onto 4 people as well, able to survive there. Sonya is going to be the one that goes down. Red look like they're going to try and pick up this tribute, as well as Deckard Coin trying to retreat. He's got no cooldown reset either. No friends there, but it looks like Classics is going to pick up this their tribute. And German Efficiency take this first curse.
A beautiful fight here. I really liked the way the Muradin just stood in there and he was like, yeah, I'm classics on Muradin was just like, yeah, no, I'm quite happy to take all the mountains of damage you're pouring on me. And I've got Avatar and I don't really care. And Graymin was, chasing, trying to secure that kill, gets punished. Absolutely huge stay a while and listen from Deckard Coin. Did enable Graymin to get away, but not for long enough. And of course, a lot of damage was taken by the blue team in the process. Durance of Hate, though, comes out, hits onto 2 members, including Lucio, and Lucio does not like to be rooted. 120 HP there for Nefela, but they do get away for now, actually, and this means that still they are pushing on, and Lucio will top himself up easily enough with the help of his smooth moves as well.
Yep, he is looking to try and slip away. Classics is being very aggressive here, not fearing the Mephisto. When you're right next to a Mephisto, it's probably the best place to be, because if he blinks up behind you, you know he's got nowhere to run. But Bargui now getting some space, using the lightning to damage the opponents, but they're now having to retreat as the curse is just coming off. But Classics is still going in. The curse is off and is focusing the water elemental. The Stairwell Missile goes out on 3 people here. Bargui going in, putting out the damage. Classics is falling lower and lower, and Kaiusa is going to go down. This Cassia just could not survive this torrent, but Boozer on the clone trying to get out the Deckard Coin in the background. But meanwhile, Mephisto has been picking up kills, and it looks like Deckard Coin is going to survive. Another good set of kills here for the Laser Sharks.
Beautiful, beautiful patience here from the Laser Sharks. They just waited for that curse clock to tick down, and then exploited the fact that German Efficiencies had come in a long way looking for that kill. Another huge leap, as you say, from Deckard Coin. Already two ults, and two brilliant ults at that from him. But yeah, I mean, the problem was Lucio was on low health before the fight and therefore couldn't really commit to any dangerous positioning to come and support his teammates slipping away.
Yeah, and we do see now that the blue team, with that advantage, with those kills, able to pick up their boss, and the red team have only just started their boss. This means blue team are making their way across. They've sort of sniffed it out. Obviously, the red team were able to do their bruiser camp, but now, looking at this boss camp, it's on about 20% HP. The blue team are just arriving. Johanna's in position there, but she gets stunned by Classics. It's still a lot to go on. Johanna walking forward, does not able to get onto the point, but it looks like a lot of kills may be here for the blue team. They are able to get a decent amount of stun. The leap comes in onto Lucio as well. They're going to have to wait because they've got their... the sound barrier was interrupted, and 2 more kills on the side of the red team.
I mean, what again? Look, this is yet another game-winning stay a while and listen from Deckard Coin. Obviously the whole team is working together brilliantly, and the leaps from Sonya are really punishing some of those backliners. And we talked about, didn't we, how we don't have the strong bruiser frontline for German Efficiency. But let's be clear here: the setup there for the stay a while and listen to shut down all the members of German Efficiency except the one that they were executing, which was Muradin. Beautifully executed there by Laser Sharks.
Yeah, but meanwhile, this boss has taken the first fort of the game. Yes, we are 11 minutes in, and the first fort was only really taken by a NPC of all things. But we see a little bit of a face-off now here, as we're sort of on an inconsequential curse tribute, but Commissar 16 is not willing to let it go easily.
Both teams nearly 16, but I have to say it's going to arrive a little bit sooner for Laser Sharks, and Muradin gets rooted here. Lovely Blizzard zoning out a few members, and the Duke of Wellington comes out, puts a bit of poking damage, and Classics is fully healed all of a sudden. That's a Muradin for you. In comes the Lucio with a massive heal as well. Oh, but a leap from Sonya this time onto the fake Jaina. The fake Jaina may well die, but that's not too much of a worry. But the stay a while and listen catches onto 2 members here. But I don't think Cassia cares. She's stuck in there with a hat. She does care. She's actually died. So the massive damage that's come out from Mephisto, but Mephisto did die in response, and Sonya's going to be next.
And look at this, with a 4-man team wipe, Boozer is more than happy to capture that tribute as an Abathur. That's when you know it's cheeky, when the Abathur buries in and gets the tribute. That's what we like to see in the Nexus Rumble. A little bit of cheek sometimes, just to make sure that you're the top boss. Our challengers here, German Efficiency, coming from the top of Div 5 to take on this other sort of stupendous Div 5 team of Laser Sharks. We're really seeing the skill here coming out. It's very nice.
Yeah, lovely sharp play from both of these Division 5 teams. And we're seeing really energetic team fights. We've seen 3 or 4 energetic team fights in this game, and we're only 12 minutes in. Level 17 now for German Efficiency. 8 kills to 7 in their favor, so not a lot in it. But structurally, here's the big difference. They're now 2 forts up. That will give them a gradual lead and a trickle XP as well, with the help of that extra Abba soak they've been getting. As you know, I think that's going to kind of edge them towards level 20 a lot sooner than their opponents. So what we may see very soon is Laser Sharks saying we need to take a fight before that XP runs away from us, before German efficiency gets to level 20.
Now, level 16 is usually a big power spike for Lucio, but on the other side, Deckard Cain has taken safety in numbers, looking to maybe surround himself, make sure that he's got that extra 10 armor. Oh, we see an attempt here with the Cursed Bullet and the Durance of Hate, but it just misses on Classics as he leaps away with that Dwarf Toss. But here, a big surrounding of teams. Tompa Boy looking to try and go in. The Stairwell Listener is still available. That has been so crucial, but the Avatar now popped. The blue team are trying to get in. The clone has been popped with Tompa Boy trying to stun out as many people. Deckard Cain is all by himself, but now with that 20 armor, able to stay in a little bit longer. The Tail comes out, catches a couple of people, zones out the rest. Cassia being slept is all too important as Barkley is able to pick up 3 kills. Well, 2 kills and almost Classics with that Mephisto.
Yeah, again, I mean, the stay while and listen this time didn't seem so massive, but what he did is he just caught Gina and stopped her getting far enough away from Sonya. And that meant that Sonya was in position to punish her with the help of Grayman. Again, just beautiful, beautiful plays from Laser Sharks. And yet, they're only 1 kill ahead, and they're still 2 forts down. Those siege giants of the bot lane were pushing pretty hard as well. They're now going onto the towers, although Sonya will be clearing them up soon enough. But ultimately, you know, with having got those kills, the only thing that Laser Sharks are buying themselves with it is a fort at the top lane. And yes, that'll give them a bit of trickle XP, but you really, that's a long, it's a long time before that turns into levels.
Oh, we may see a little invade here on the Bruiser Camp. No, it was sniffed out, but just too late. Able to be picked up by the Cassia there. Oh, Muradin, though, 30 seconds left till he respawns. He got a bit caught out in the top lane, Karis, and this might give an opportunity for a cheeky curse for the Laser Sharks.
I think this will be a curse, and it won't be so cheeky as an Abatha picking it up was earlier. But yeah, no, I think this probably will be a curse for Laser Shark. I don't think it's the end of the world for German efficiency because, yes, they'll get the forts trivially with it, but maybe they'll get a keep, but they'll have to work to get a keep. It's not something that's going to give them for free. And of course, a keep isn't the end of the game. So the thing that they need to worry about on the side of German efficiency, though, is not getting picked off during this curse. Because if they get picked off or they die in a team fight, then this top boss will be picked up by Laser Sharks on top of the everything else. In fact, it looks like Laser Sharks are going straight for that boss. Which it would be slightly surprising.
It got scouted out by an Abatha mine, and Classics went instantly over there. Oh, the jump interrupted, as well as the leap going on top, and that was a beautiful kill here by the Laser Sharks onto the Muradin, and this is going to enable them to just get a free keep in the top lane. If they so wish, they can retreat and get that boss later, Karis.
They can indeed. Beautiful. I didn't see actually who interrupted that jump of Muradin, but just caught him out slightly unawares. And he still had Avatar available at the time he died, so slightly surprising death from Muradin there. Naked core at 16 minutes into the game is going to be something that they have to be able to deal with that. And bear in mind, they don't have like a sort of Valor for kind of long range poke. It's going to be depending a lot for damage on this Jaina and the double Jaina and of course the Wintermute. So you've got double Jaina and Wintermute. That is a lot of burst, but is that going to be enough sustain on that boss as it marches towards core, backed up of course by 5 sharks?
Yeah, these 5 sharks are looking to get the kills here, looking to push down this top lane. They have the boss, they have everything, and there's only an Abatha. The Abatha has to pop the clone sooner or later. The clone is now popped. They're going in really hard, but the Cursed Bullet takes out a lot of damage, and the Mephisto is just cleaning house. This damage is incredible, and with the follow-up Sail One and Listen as well, it was all too much for German efficiency.
Absolutely disgusting there from Mephisto. Just absolutely sick damage. It came out onto all German efficiency, and that for sure is going to be the end of game number 1. I mean, it just looked like they all disappeared on the side of of German efficiency. Just beautiful damage.
Yeah, I mean, they did so incredibly well. You know, they were all over the place. You know, after a few good fights, after defending the curse from the opposing team, it's proven to be really, really good. I mean, they could have gone either way, but having that Abatha, they had the early lead. That was really surprising, but it just turned to be those Stairwell Lessons are the true MVPs here.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, that I think for most of the early game and the mid game, Deckard Coin on the Deckard Cain, devastating. And as you said, it's a hero that both of these teams prioritized, that both of them valued. Ultimately, it's Laser Sharks got it with that first pick in the draft, and it's really set them up for setting up all the fights, you know, with the Stairwell and sets up Sonya for the leap, sets up Greymane to go in, sets up a Fisto to do endurance or to do just some serious damage with the Shade. Well played from Deckard Coin.
Yeah, and you know, we've sort of saw that, and the fact that it turned around so quickly almost was really something. And with those Mephisto roots as well at level 20, it just is. It's so hard, and you will often expect the Jaina with the Winter's Mew and the Abatha clone to be able to be something that's sort of super good for taking out those enemy heroes in the later stages. But here, it was just overpowering for them with the Mephisto. So really well played here from Laser Sharks. Now we'll have to see what they plan to do in game number 2. Their first pick has been chosen by German Efficiency, and you know, I think they'll appreciate that. Obviously, this was their map pick, but yeah.
I mean, they may even first pick Deckard Cain. You know, we talked about how both of these teams value it. That may well be the route they go down. We are going to go to Volskaya Foundry for game number 2, picked up by Laser Sharks. So, Volskaya Foundry, I mean, what does that tell you about the way that Laser Sharks are expecting to play this game?
This means that they want to do a big old brawl. You know, you want to take on as many heroes as once, just all the time, just fighting non-stop through those objectives, having something stacking like the Chromie, like something really, really poking away. You can even pull out an Alarak if you're feeling incredibly confident. But yeah, I'd like to see maybe a Zul'jin. That's my spicy pick of the day, a Zul'jin. I'm always an advocate of the Artanis, but here, Zul'jin.
An advocator of the Artanis. That's a phrase I've not heard before. But yeah, no, I think Zul'jin, you know, if you can continuously brawl on this map and get to that late game, get to that level 20, which often happens, Zul'jin can stack up a lot, and he can stack up a lot hitting that protector. So that may be something the teams think about. But yeah, just generally continuous brawling, things that, as you say, can stack on the protector or tear it down quickly, like a Lyric, like a Tychus as well. That may be the way that these teams play it. Chromie often gets prioritized here as well.
Yeah, but the tanks obviously were prioritized last game. We have the Diva band out, not really a tank, of course, but the Imperius and the ETC band out. And whether the teams will look to do a similar thing, we'll have to wait and see, because these teams seem to have very different play styles. Obviously, the Deckard Cain has been a high priority, but I think there's a certain amount of aggression coming out from the team of German Efficiency, whereas Laser Sharks much more of a counter aggro, and it was those Stellar Listens into the leaps that really got them those wins.
Yeah, I think so, and I think nothing. You know, they don't have to change anything on the side of Laser Sharks theoretically. I mean, we may see that Deckard Cain, as I say, go early, but I think we are actually about to find out as we're going to head into the draft for game number 2 in this best of 3. So in we go to game number 2 of the Nexus Rumble. So once again, we will have betting on who you think will win game number 2. You can type !bet A and a number of points to bet on Laser Sharks, !bet space B, and a number to bet on German Efficiency, the contenders here for the lower rumble.
Yeah, and they've got to pull out something quite special. You know, the Abatha was really nice to see, and it worked really well in the early game. But as we've already discussed, those Stellar 1 lessons just proving to be a little too much. But here on Volskaya, you know, you can afford to go something a little bit unusual. You've got to have that staying power. So I expect to see the Muradin might be something they want to do again. Obviously, it's a bit more of an Abathur special, but you can certainly have that staying power, as it proved to have with the healing static. But they've chosen to ban out Chromie.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Is Chromie's, you know, something a hero quite impactful here on Volskaya Foundry. You know, she can stack easily on those brawly fights. The objective, and of course, continuous poke damage is something valuable here. And of course, the time traps control the entrances to the objectives as well. So something to really think about. Deckard Cain banned by Laser Sharks, who took it last game. They know, of course, how much German efficiency wanted that Deckard Cain, and they're thinking that's why they picked up that first pick.
Yep, the other thing to acknowledge is the Ural. The Ural's been picked up 7 times by German efficiency, as well as a Stukov and a Kerrigan. Now, Kerrigan would be something that you could potentially see on Volskaya Kerrigan, but unfortunately she's banned at the moment because the evil EU League manager has banned out Kerrigan. So, unfortunately, we're not going to see that spicy pickup here today. But you were talking about it earlier, Karis. The Gazlo has appeared.
And this is a great map for Gazlo. This is a traditional map for Gazlo. This, you know, it's point control. It's what Gazlo was all about before his rework, and now he's been reworked. He's considered a bit stronger, particularly now at the moment. He's had a lot of buffs. He's feeling dominant in Storm League. Let's see what Boozer can do with the Gazlo. I'm expecting a lot of point control with those turrets, with those bombs, and probably a grab bomb kind of build from Boozer later on. Could go, of course, Robo Goblin to deal with a lot of CC that was just picked up here by ETC and Brightwing. But I think Grab might be more likely on those points.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the Brightwing here, and is that just do we think that's a comfort pick for the Laser Sharks, or rather than a counter sort of draft they're thinking about? I think it may well be, but with a Johanna and Stukov on the other side, it's going to be a little bit of a tough time for them. Stukov is just so powerful on Volskaya Foundry, and we see it time and time again from the upper rumble, with FIFA Phrobius using Stukov to great success. So I hope the German efficiency can do a similar thing here.
Yeah, I think already this draft feels nice for Volskaya on the side of German efficiency. That Gazlo and Stukov are just going to control so much positionally on those objectives. But, of course, there's still 3 picks left for Laser Sharks. And I think they've got to start thinking about how they punish that. Now, you could go like kind of heroes that can bypass some of that control, who can dive in very hard, but then maybe Brightwing will struggle a bit as a healer. So it's not obvious how they need to play this, transparent.
No, it's not, but with Ocassia banned out, that was obviously something they respected from last game, and Greymane as well. That Greymane was obviously so good at taking camps, and what were they going to use to take camps this one? It's a big part of Volskaya Foundry, and it looks like they've chosen Phoenix as their prioritised turret picker-upper of Volskaya
Phoenix,
Foundry.
The four-legged cavalry, as he's known. And the four-legged cavalry is going to go riding in this game. And that looks like a thrall for the off lane, is my gut feeling here from Commissar 16. So that is quite a high damage comp once you get in, let's say, a mage coming out from Bargui.
Yeah.
You're looking at a lot of damage on a potentially a single or even multiple targets with the Phoenix.
We had some people in the chat calling out for Kel'Thas easy win, saying maybe that should be picked up. But with Leeming and Lunara now being picked up on the side of German efficiency, that's a lot of damage for them as well. So Gazlo in the offlane. Something that has been completely left out this time is the Imperius. No longer a 4-man damage or on the offlane, just sort of left for the offlane or main tank position these days. Completely made it through the whole draft.
Yeah, not super surprising. Zarya now, that's juice. That's juice. And I can tell you, I play Zarya a lot, both in Heroes Lounge and in Storm League. That's a nice pickup there. They may struggle a little bit for wave clear. Hopefully Phoenix should be able to give them that. I think Phoenix will be able to cover that job for them. But yeah, I think their thought was, if I can read the minds of Laser Sharks, I think their thought was, we're going to find it really hard to engage into the Gazlo Stukov point control, and Lunara and Leeming are just going to poke us, and Brightwing can't deal with that level of poke that they'll be putting out. So what we'll do is we'll add a bit more protection from that Zarya. That'll mean if we're taking a lot of poke damage, we'll have high energy from Zarya. That'll allow us to engage. And of course, what you may see is Heroes of Inclement Weather Season 6 special, Black Hole into Planet Cracker.
Yeah, I mean, it could well be there. I mean, one thing they have got to watch out for is that Stukov silence, which can put Zarya completely out of business when she's trying to sustain or trying to walk away, but she's slowed inside a pool of silence. She's got no way to get her shield off because she's silenced, so just ends up a little bit dead. So I do want to see Bargui be a little bit more careful there.
What I'm expecting to see from Bargui on the Zarya is an unstoppable at level 13, but they'll have to wait as we are heading into game number 2 in this best of 3 series.
Yes.
And on the left, in blue, we have the Laser Sharks with Tom Paboy on ETC, Bargui on the strongest woman in the world, Zarya, Deckard Coin on Brightwing Kane, and Commissar 16 on Thrall, and Pluck on the four-legged Cavalry Phoenix.
Yep, and on the right-hand side, in the red, we have German Efficiency. We have Boozer on that Gazlo, Nefala on Stukov, Classics on Johanna, Kaiser on Lunara, and Black Dragon 7, finishing off on Li Ming.
So, immediately, these teams both heading in. It is Crash Lightning from Thrall. Now, does that mean that Thrall's not going to go in the solo lane, Transparent?
No, Thrall has got to go in the solo lane, but I think it's just preparing for the objective.
Yes, they're likely to stack on the objective, and that's their plan, is to have longer, brawly fights. The problem is, as I see it, oh, that's a lovely slide onto Joanna. And of course, Zarya with a full energy bar will melt down that Joanna pretty fast, so long as she doesn't blind her. I was going to say, the problem with that plan for them, for Laser Sharks, is, of course, I think they'll have trouble playing the poke game against the Li Ming, Lunara, Stukov, Gazlo. I just think that's quite a hard comp to win a poke war against. But we'll see how they do it. It may depend on how that Zarya is played, as we talked about in the setup. And it is, by the way, currently Thrall in the rotation and Phoenix in that solo lane.
Yeah, and we said Phoenix there, but that means they're being a bit slow picking up on the other part of the turrets, which obviously General Efficiency have taken straight away, whereas Bargui and Topaboy are going to be a bit slower, as that's a tank and a second sort of support here on the side of the blue team.
So it is indeed, and I think everything fairly even so far. Phoenix got to be careful here as Lunara rotates down just to threaten Phoenix away from a bit of that XP. Nice little zoning, but I don't think Pluck is too worried there on the Phoenix. Zarya is running constantly on full energy, partly because she went for that maximum charge talent at level 1, and the globes are giving her energy. And of course, she's trying to stack that quest, currently at 96 seconds out of the 2 minutes needed. Oh, hello, here's some damage on Joanna. Unstoppable use from Joanna, but ETC is going to want taking more damage from Li Ming and Lunara, falling a bit low here. Zarya comes into zone and puts a bit of damage, and ETC does escape with his life.
Yep, these teams are sort of trading damage here in the mid lane, but at the bottom lane, Gazlo has seemed to be winning. Pushing forward, Gazlo able to rotate into this middle, maybe sort of trying to sniff out, or maybe picking up a rotation, or just helping out in clearing the wave, as the red team also prep their siege camp. This red team has been on an incredible rotation, picking up these camps in such good time that they're definitely in control of this map here already, despite it not being their map pick.
Absolutely. So it's everything looking very, very smooth for both teams so far. No kills from either team so far. Both teams timing the camps and stuff really nicely. And we can see, look, Lunara holding that top right camp for now, waiting until the last possible second before capping it. And she does that now. And they're both going to head towards the objective, which is being ticked up by Joanna.
Yep, we see the red team just taking this advantage, and they're having the top camps pushing out nicely at the same time, maybe to try and clear out each other. But Classics is pushing further and further forward. The rest of the blue team are sort of pushing in, as Lunara is showing in the top lane. They have the advantage. They're almost at level 7 themselves, but Classics getting caught out here does have the Iron Skin able to walk out. What can the red team do here to maybe wrestle the point back, as level 7 is soon approaching for the Laser Sharks?
Yeah, I think there's enough percentage in it. Oh, Joanna's saying no. We're not going to let you have the clock so soon, but they have now got it. So the blue clock is ticking, but there's enough time for German efficiency to go and cap that level 7. I think soon enough. Thrall goes up to clear top as well. But they're looking to invade actually before the level 7. This is confidence here because they've seen that Thrall's top clearing, and immediately they just put out a bit of poke. And the thing with Brightwing is, her passive heal is not very strong in terms of dealing with the kind of poke that Lunara and Li Ming are going to put out. She's got one huge heal, ancestral healing, I call it, on a 20-second cooldown. So that's great, but she can't be using that to deal with a Lunara poke continuously, and it can only deal with one target. So a lot of spell dust can be important here from Brightwing.
Yeah, this is such a back and forth objective, but Tomboy has been caught out. He's trying to run on the Travelator, but he does get taken out. That silence and stun from Gazlowe and Stukov just proving too much. But Blue Team is still trying to take control at this point. They've got a lot of sustain, they've got a lot of shields, and they're trying to sort of make sure that they can take it for as long as can. 4 versus 5. They've poked the enemy team away.
Yeah. Brightwing still has her phase shift available. That ancestral healing I was talking about wasn't used on ETC when he was a bit out of position. I guess the Brightwing was a bit cautious about not getting caught. Now they could be available for Thrall. Again, not being popped here from Deck of Coin, wanting to save it for as long as possible. Now using it to top up Thrall before the fight. That gives the shield to Thrall, able to go in, and ETC's back just in time. So now there's going to be a contest here, 87%, and the clock currently frozen as neither team has control. Joanna, no Iron Skin about to end, down to 1,000 HP, but Tomboy on the ETC got to step back. Lunara's putting out a lot of poke, and ETC only has 20 armor these days. Out comes another volley from Li Ming. Zarya steps up with that shield, tanks damage, and gets the full energy bar, but falls low on HP.
Yeah, the Blue Team now backing off. They've been doing so well forcing these fights. Oh, a beautiful route here from Commissar 16 to be able to peel for himself. Nicely done. He's going to survive this onslaught the Red Team are trying to do. They are looking like they're trying to take this point back, but it's been such a back and forth point, and Blue Team have done really well to even get anything on here as having lost a kill, but the Iron Skin just saving Johanna, and they're going to walk away with Stukov popping the heal as well just to keep them alive.
Lovely play here from the Blue Team, and they have played very patiently around that Brightwing heal and the Zarya damage. They're not, like I was saying, because it's very difficult to choose which damage they're going to deal with, because they've got continuous poke coming in from Lunara and Li Ming. They played it really nicely here, where they were quite hesitant with using the phase shift from Brightwing, so they're not wasting it on what might be called frivolous damage, and that's allowing the Zarya to just continuously have energy, continuously put a lot of pressure out. If we take a look at the damage stats, in fact, just now, we'll see that Zarya is currently top hero damage for the Blue Team at 18,000 damage.
Yeah, and that is impressive. When you have a Phoenix on your team, Phoenix does a lot of damage to self. He's just overtaken Zarya right now, but they're doing so much work. And Blue Team are pushing in hard on this 4. They're going to be a little bit stuck if they don't get out, but they are choosing to run away now, as level 10s have come in for both teams. Classics is a little bit, well, not both teams just yet. That was a little bit early, and Classics is going to get caught out because there is a lot of heroics available. We do see the Graviton Surge, and Phoenix is waiting on his heroic, maybe waiting for a juicy Graviton to
It's the Planet Cracker.
We
called it. It's the laser eye surgery combo, where you hold somebody in place and you laser out both of their eyes, and that we may see that coming in very soon. And Phoenix can do that from across the map. Bear that in mind. However, the thing Phoenix has to be careful of if doing that is not to be in range of Gazlowe, because he'll just drop a bomb and interrupt it. So that's something that Phoenix got to be aware of the positioning. Zarya has to be continuously in communication with Phoenix, saying, are you in position to drop a Planet Cracker even from across the map if I throw this black hole right now?
Yeah, and Red Team are more than aware of that. They are looking to try and peel back harder and harder, but we expected them to have the advantage on these points, but Gazlowe is struggling to get any sort of turret consistency down, and is doing fine in this bot lane against the Phoenix and having a little bit of help from time to time. The rotations from German efficiency have been really good, so it's just such an even game, but Laser Sharks have just had the better control on the point to be able to get an objective lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they're stepping up. Oh, hang on, Zarya, got to be careful with that Stukov silence like you were talking about. But Flux steps back, just continuously poking. Yeah, Bargui on the Zarya is going to be so crucial to setting up this with the black hole. Of course, you've got the Earthquake and you've got the Mosh Pit as well. But it kind of comes down to if they find a big black hole, it may just be game, particularly once they get towards that level 20 with the silencing black hole from Zarya.
Yeah, the Graviton Surge is just phenomenal if used right. Classics can set it up with maybe the Blessed Shield as well, but oh, sorry, no, that's on the other team. But no, the Earthquake with the Earthquake with the Graviton Surge can be good, but Tomboy looking to try and get on this point. The support camp, the Earthquake is popped. Are we going to see the combo used here? No, they're being patient. The Graviton Surge goes in.
There
Now,
it
here's the
is.
laser beam. There goes. Stukov is falling lower and lower. Does indeed fall. We see Gazlo trying to get on the point, and we see the healing beacon. It is taken by Johanna in this case, but ETC fell on the other side, and Decker Coin is just getting away with 130 HP. No, he's taken out by some missiles that did not miss.
So they did the combo. It looked juicy, but of course the grav bomb from the Gazlo kind of countered, zoned a lot of people out following up. Yes, they got that kill immediately onto Stukov, but that that wasn't enough to deal with the punishment they were getting. Lovely bribing save from on Zarya as well. Even despite that, they still couldn't secure that point because of the grav bomb value.
Yeah, and this has sort of evened up the game even more so. They did manage to take the heal beacon, but it's now been already dropped in that team fight, I believe. So it's sort of even sides. There is obviously there is indeed a turret on the side of Black Dragon 7, but the blue team have used it up.
So Zarya's not gone for the unstoppable level 13 talent. Now look, when you're against Lunara, Li Ming, Gazlo, 75 spell armor is not to be frowned at. But I thought we might see the unstoppable just because the Gazlo bombs and the Stukov silences are what is punishing Zarya at the moment, stopping Zarya from just being able to stand there and say, I'm in charge. But, of course, the 75 spell armor, like I say, will just stop Li Ming being able to touch Zarya ever again.
Yeah, it absolutely is a very good talent, especially for taking the poke. But with so much energy, Bargui is doing an incredible amount. Here's the 75 armor. It gets popped almost instantly. Classics going in there. The Tomper Boy there uses the mosh pit, but it is interrupted by Black Dragon 7. And the rest of the heroics are being used, but no kills just so yet. Lunara trying to blink in, and Emerald Wind is being used, but it looks like ETC is falling lower and lower. Brightwing trying to get there, but we see Calamity just popping the ETC here. Black Dragon 7 is so aggressive, going in so deep, but now Pluck is thinking, I'm on Phoenix, I'm going to go forward. And Classics goes into Peel, but Classics also has only 200 HP. Oh, and these they're getting out with just their lives. Plug not thinking to trying to dive past that, but on the objective there has been more than a tussle as well.
Yeah, still a fight going on at this objective, despite Phoenix flirting with Joanna and Li Ming down at toward the support camp. Still a fight up, but there's a top objective, of course. With that ETC dead, they can't commit, but there's plenty of time yet for him to respawn and get back up to the top and get that mosh pit cooldown reset as soon as possible. Again, the fights are kind of back and forth, but so far it's just leaning on the side of German efficiency. But this Phoenix is starting to put out some serious threats to the opposition. And of course, the turret was used there by German efficiency when Li Ming thought that Phoenix might kill her otherwise.
Yeah, and blue team have now wrestled red off the point just by pulling them down, and this is going to give them a little bit of control. Mosh pit is going to be up in 16 seconds. They do have the cooldown reduction, of course, but Lunara gets caught out by a root. This is big with the Graviton Surge as well. We don't have the laser beam just yet, but it's going to be enough to put damage in. But Gazlo returns with the Gravi Bomb, and that's going to get another kill for the red team.
Yeah, and Phoenix going to make it another one. Lovely chain there, and that's going to punish Phoenix as well. Bribing did manage to top up one of the team, but not save all of them.
Tomper Boy almost got an incredible mosh pit there, but Nefala on a Stukov quickly reacting and massive shoving him right away. So they're now getting the control of this top point.
So one of the things that happened in the kind of previous skirmish is the Planet Cracker was used without the Graviton. And that meant when the Graviton was used here, and it was very juicy Graviton, there wasn't a Planet Cracker available to follow it up. So they've kind of taken those heroics out of sync. Now, of course, the Graviton Surge is on a much shorter cooldown than the Planet Cracker. Zarya gets herself a lot of energy there and 75 spell armor to boot, so she can just stand here and do some serious damage at the end of that. But it's still it meant that they weren't able to do that punishing combo that they've been really keen to demonstrate earlier in the game.
Yeah, and but with this defense coming out from Zarya, coming out from the Phoenix, not actually got that top 4, but they're looking to march down here now into the mid lane and probably down to the bot lane, maybe to try and pick up that healing fountain for their third objective.
Yes, absolutely, and I think they will be able to get the healing fountain without too much difficulty. This is a 13-minute protector. It'll cut through these buildings pretty swiftly. The question is, are they able to get many more? I don't think so. I think at this point, Joanna's got to start retreating this Ribbot because Stukov's inside there, and if he gets slid in by the ETC, as he's thinking about doing now, there's a grab bomb though to counter. Absolutely devastating. Zari's been torn to pieces. Phoenix just about manages to teleport to safety, but that leaves Thrall completely on his own. The Earthquake healing him for now, but Leeming's chasing, looking for 3TC. Commissar 16 in a world of hurt, running through a sea of red. The Bribing Zed might just save. No, it just failed by a skin of a second. And Zari's got to be careful. Does have the 55 star armor from Brightwing though. Will keep her alive for now. So it's just one kill. But wow, what a grab bomb from Boozer.
Yeah, I mean, it completely turned around that fight where you're looking for the engage. The counter engage comes out from Boozer. It's like a reverse almost from the first game, with their Stairwell and Listens now being replaced by Boozer with the grab bomb. And Red Team are looking to be greedy. You know, they killed Thrall. Let's take the fortification camp.
Yep, and I mean, why not? They've got control, and I suspect they're going to give support camp as well because, you know, Thrall's going to be back in 5 seconds, but it'll take them a long time to run over there. They should have control of that support camp if they can get it started swiftly enough, but they don't seem to be, or rather they're taking a bit of time over it. They may be looking for a Phoenix gank here. If there's a Blessed Shield, it might just be the end of Phoenix. The Bribing Zed is not going to be in time to save Phoenix, and the four-legged cavalry collapses.
Yeah, and Red Team should look to take out this fort here. Bargwy's positioning very far forward. He knows there's no Blessed Shield, but he's going to get slower and slower if he's not careful. Stukov tries to get silence on him, but the Unstoppable coming out. Beautiful, but the gravel bomb here does catch Bargwy again, and he's got no more Unstoppable this time. The shield is there though, with the 75 spell armor, is able to keep him alive longer and longer. He's just surviving endlessly with this trickle healing from Decade Coin on the Brightwing, keeping him just alive for now.
So Zarya there went from 75 spell armor from her own shield to the 55 spell armor from Brightwing. So not taking much spell damage, Zarya, in this game, but still, you know, still taking a fair chunk. And it makes you think, if she's taking that much damage with her own 75 spell armor shield, what is happening to the rest of the members? What's happening to this Phoenix? What's happening to the ETC? Well, I'll tell you, the answer is they're dying.
Yeah, they're just getting popped. We can have a little look at the death stats. We see no deaths on Zarya because she has so much armor, but 3 deaths on ETC and a couple of deaths to boot on the other assassins here in our Nexus Rumble lowest series of Laser Sharks versus German Efficiency. German Efficiency ahead in this game, but behind in the series. They're going to have to win this one and the next if they want to take on and defeat the champions that are Laser Sharks.
Okay, so level 19, 1 level lead now for German Efficiency. They just need to maintain their calm, get themselves to that level 20, control the game. There should be time for them to get level 20 before this objective. And that will mean they can just have the 20 versus 19 fight. Meanwhile, of course, Laser Sharks are hungering. They smell blood in the water and they want to fry it with their laser beams, or indeed the big laser beam of Phoenix. And they are marching, looking for ganks. But German Efficiency, very sensible, very calm, playing it safe, waiting for that 20.
Yeah, and it looked like Laser Sharks were trying to force something a little bit before 20, but they were far too patient on the side of German Efficiency, being incredibly efficient. And yeah, they've got that level 20 here, and now they'll look to take this objective.
They are indeed, and now it should be a free objective, I think, because there's no danger of Laser Sharks getting level 20 in time. Now, actually, they think they're getting ganked to the top lane, so they're panic hearting. They should be okay to get out safely enough. But of course, the red team now with 3 items and very soon a protector.
Yeah, I think the blue team...
This is potentially 5v4 because the blue team sees that one of the red team is on the objective. So Lunara and Gaz, they've got to be a bit careful there.
I think the blue team are a bit scared of maybe a big push coming out from the red team here to pressure down that bottom wall, and Phoenix has taken the opportunity while the red team were there to maybe get a fort here with the minions pushing in. Obviously they're still at level 19, whereas the red team being on level 20 will have this objective and quite a decent push, especially with all those items that you mentioned earlier, Karis.
Yeah, I think this is something that the teams, you know, the blue team has to be careful about now, because this robot is going potentially to end the game if the blue team makes a mistake here. Zara's got to be cautious. I mean, yes, she's got that shield, yes, she's got that 75 spell armor, and yes, Bribing still has the phase shift available, but she's not invincible. By the way, Thrall is about to stack Crash Lightning. We're going to expect it any second now, the 30th stack, and here it comes.
No, it does not get the bounce right now. But we see the keep being pressured. The rest of the blue team are maybe looking to try and dive in on the red team. Crash Lightning is now complete. Maybe the damage will finally be coming out, getting all the value of Crash Lightning. But a Gravel Bomb comes in. The super massive black hole maybe catching Decker Coin here. But no, he's able to escape with the Earthquake popping onto the rest of the backline here. A level 20 just out of reach for the blue team, and having to pop Earthquake. That is really good for the red team to have got that out of the way.
Yeah, really, really nicely played there by the red team. And I think it's not over yet for the blue team. They do have level 20. Zarya not going for the silencing black hole, instead going for the grenade reset to get a bit more poke damage, continuous damage from those grenades, because she is running constantly at high energy in this game, and those will do a lot of damage at that energy. So they're not putting all their eggs in that basket, but still, it's everything to play for. ETC with the death metal, by the way, at level 20, because ETC has been dying a lot, earlier in this game. Now, if they punish ETC too hard on the side of the red team, they all get caught up in that death metal, and there's no interrupting that. So they've got to be cautious.
Yeah, level 20s here all round, but it's in a bad shape here for the Laser Sharks. They've lost the keep in the bot lane. They've lost both their forwards, and in terms of map presence, red team are just all over them. They're going to have a second support camp, and they're almost running out of places to carry these items. If they try and pick up both the blue team and their own, they're going to have not enough heroes. This is where the Lost Vikings come in. So useful, Karis.
Yeah, the Lost Vikings could be crucial. Sadly, they didn't think to pick it up, didn't have the foresight. It's going to be item number 5 here, as you say. They've got full Mario Kart here on the side of German efficiency, and they're going to start, like, next team fight that goes on, they can just drop 3 turrets and just watch them gun at the enemy. That's something you've got to be terrified of. If you're on the side of Laser Sharks here, like, you're gonna get 3 turrets. There's double healing item. I don't know how can Laser Sharks play this. Do they have to force a fight before the protector, before the objective, to bait out some turrets and then retreat and play another fight, with once some turrets have been used? I don't know, Transparent.
Well, items are great, and they are incredibly powerful. As you say, the Mario Kart items, you've got basically the red shells of the turrets, but blue team can still beat them if these items are used incorrectly, and they've just picked up a turret for themselves as well that was sort of obviously being laid waste in the bottom. But yeah, items have to be used correctly, and so if those turrets are in the wrong position, if that healing camp just gets cleaned out too quickly, it can easily be a turnaround fight for the blue team.
Yes, it will indeed, as the teams are getting set up, but still waiting for that objective to get spawned. Level 22 to 21. We're 21.5 minutes into game number 2 of the lower Nexus Rumble series. It's a best of 3 series. If the Laser Sharks can win this game number 2, if they can turn this game around, they will retain their title in the Nexus Rumble. But if, and it's a big if German efficiency can just hold their advantage, use that item advantage, capitalize, and take themselves all the way to winning this game, they'll take it to the game number 3, where they'll have to fight even harder.
Yep, obviously, they've only got 1 kill on the side of Laser Sharks, and that was a little bit earlier on in this game, so they're going to have to push quite hard to maybe try and get another one. Obviously, they've got some impactful heroics now on level 10 with those earthen shields and the death metal, as well as well, no, they don't have invisible friends. Sorry, I misread that talent there at the bottom, but they've got some good level 20 upgrades. But on the side of the red team, with the Blessed Shield upgrade and the super massive black hole, miniature black hole even, yeah, it's going to be tough.
That's the opposite of supermassive. No, I have to say, because you were mentioning the Brightwing, I have to say I was slightly surprised we didn't, because Brightwing went 55 spell armor at level 13, so good against Li Ming and Lunara. If she'd gone for the AoE dust at level 20, she could have given 55 spell armor immediately to her whole team, and that is so powerful against the Li Ming, Lunara, Gazla comp. Imagine you see the grab bomb coming in, your teammate's going to get hit by it. You throw out the 55 spell armor just as it's landing, so your team doesn't die in the ensuing bomb. That could have been a play. However, she's gone for the speedy movement to avoid herself getting caught in it. But here's the roots onto ETC. He's got to be cautious. He has the death metal, but if he dies at range, that's not gonna help him at all. The turret's getting built up by Gazza. They're just marching that wall forward. They've still got themselves some big daddy turrets available, starting to put out some damage onto Mummy Zarya. And Joanna got to be cautious here. She does not have, as you said, the indestructible level 20. She's got that the instant cast mark, but there's the grab bomb. Hits onto Zarya, who presses the medallion. So Zarya has not been hit by the grab bomb and throws a bit deep. In comes the black hole on the planet cracker, but Gazlo passes his own unstoppable and walks away.
Yeah, so many items used here by the red team. Obviously, they used almost everything here. They still have a turret available, but the blue team able to bully them off. Really nicely played by them. You know, trying to weave in their attacks between the Stukov cooldown of popping that heal. And they've gained control at this point, which is really, you know, exactly what they wanted. But with the fortification camp up here on the side of the red team, they're looking to take another fight, maybe a little bit later, as they've got some time as the percentage ticks up for the blue team.
Yes. Currently, that fight, we have to say, was won mostly by the blue team. ETC, got to be careful here. Tompa Boy slides out to safety. Nicely done, as the red team starts to set up. Gazlo, one turret down, taking that scrap up. Boozer steps back, waits for the enemy team to step up a little bit more. But now, a big turret has been dropped. That's going to provide a bit of space. And of course, the blue team has to be on this point. They are. The clock is not ticking for either team here. Grab bomb is back up for Gazlo because that bigger black hole resets the cooldown as well when it hits a member. And now ETC gets caught in the condemn, but in goes with a mosh pit onto two members, but immediately knocked back by that wave of force from Li-Ning, and has been punished by a grab bomb, this time onto Brightwing, but she presses her medallion, walks away with the death metals onto two members here, transparent.
Yes, the 2 kills may be coming out, and yes, Zarya is able to pick those up. Pluck also looking to continue getting the kills. Meanwhile, Brightwing went back down in the backline, and Pluck is possibly going to fall as well if he doesn't get a shield from Zarya. No, he's able to warp to keep himself a little bit further alive. Yes. Oh, I think possibly his level 20 talent. No, of course he doesn't have the level 20 talent to keep him further alive. But yeah, able to walk away here, and very nicely done here by the blue team, picking up this 4th objective.
Beautifully done there from the blue team, and this is a very late game objective. This may go onto the core because this is a 25-minute protector. This will cut through buildings in seconds, transparent. They're going to be marching on. ETC is in, sorry, Thrall and Zarya are in the robot, and they are going to be stepping up. ETC still there for another 15 seconds, so ETC won't be able to join this core push, but Brightwing, of course, will. Once she respawns in 14 seconds, she can Z in if Phoenix comes, because of course she can't teleport to this protector, and Phoenix doesn't seem to be coming to this. It looks like they're not going directly core, or there's some disagreement because the protector's going core, but Phoenix isn't. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, transparent.
Yeah, I think maybe Phoenix was just a little bit worried about the lanes being pushed out, but Zarya and Thrall are certainly not worried. They tried to go for the core, but it seems like the rest of the red team are now pushing them away. You know, that protector is incredibly powerful and can shred through the core, but without the support of his teammates, it's not going to be able to get there, and it's just retreating and taking more and more damage, trying to use the walls now to jump away, and Gazlo's maybe looking to get another miniature black hole on top of Deckard Coin and Tompa Boy. But no, yep, they've walked out. They managed to get a 4 and a keep, but the core was just out of reach for them.
I'm a little bit surprised they played it that way, transparent, because I just feel like what they potentially could have done, and this is a bit hindsight being 2020, but arguably, you know, if they were worried about those lanes being pushed, there was no time pressure on the robot. Look, it's still got 40 seconds left. They could have just waited back with the protector while those lanes were cleared, as you pointed out, that Phoenix were doing, clearing those waves that were threatening the core. And then you just say, well, now we've cleared the waves, now we go with the protector, now we push to win. But they didn't do that. Fair enough. They were worried about the pressure on the core. And now they've got to defend their own keep, and they have lost that top keep. Of course, Thrall and Zarya are still in that robot. Zarya's getting out to try and half, but Thrall's taking it to mid to threaten. They're having some disagreements. I think in comes the grab bomb. Oh, I've got to be cautious there. ETC nicely sidesteps it, and that means the grab bomb's on full cooldown now for a whole minute. And Zarya does get back to defend, and Thrall too will be okay, although he's still walking around in a very heavy suit of armor.
Yep, and that just explodes right now. Really nicely done here by German Efficiency, picking up that top keep as well to increase their macro pressure, as they have a whole 4 left in the bot lane, and opening up the top lane means that in our next 5th objective, they will have an open walk to core, if they can get there, because there is a chance that we see the mythical 6 Protector, Karis.
It's been a long time since I've seen the 6 Protector.
It's very rare, incredibly rare.
No, hang on. We haven't had the 5th Protector yet. That was the 4th one.
Yes, yeah, well, indeed.
Oh, yes, so it'll be the 5th Protector, yeah. No, our 5th Protector I have seen sometimes. Look, this is Volsky. It can go very late. We're in our 29th minute now, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first series of the night, and we're only in game 2 of this lower rumble contest. You're watching Laser Sharks versus German Efficiency. Laser Sharks, the current champion, wanting to secure their title for yet another week. And don't forget, we'll have the upper rumble later on today. So let's take a look at some of the damage stats, transparent, because this has been a long game. 96,000 damage from Lunara. It's just relentless damage, but a lot of that has been absorbed by Zarya, who's providing a lot of continuous, a lot of protection for her team and herself, and that's providing the energy. Zarya, every time I've seen Zarya in these fights, she's been on full energy. Really nicely played from Bargui.
Yeah, it's done an incredible job keeping the sustain of the team as well, keeping some people alive from that Lunara poison damage. But as we get into the later stages of this game, this Lunara is going to be doing an incredible amount of damage. Lunara's poison used to scale incredibly into the late game, has been a little bit nerfed in time, but still does a lot of damage. And Brightwing's going to struggle to keep up with it the more and more we get into this game, as level 25 is being picked up by both teams now.
So the level 25 talent are in.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. No, look, and one of the things about this being the game being this late is anytime backdoor is a real threat, because a level 25 team, if it's not defended, can melt a core like that, because of course the heroes at this point have scaled much higher than the core. So the core's health has not scaled as much as the hero damage at this point of the game. So these teams could just melt a core so trivially. You've got, look, Zarya pushing a core would be devastating with a Phoenix. Or, on the other hand, you've got Lunara Li Ming. They would melt the core as well. So, on top of everything else that the teams have to think about, it's this threat of backdoor. Now, that, I think, is a bigger threat for Laser Sharks to worry about, because they're missing 2 keeps in the top and bottom lanes, and those are kind of easier to sneak one into rather than the mid lane. But you know, it's something that both teams have to be constantly thinking about. Maybe pre-charging their Hearthstones. I'd like to see something like that going on whenever they can't see the opposition, as indeed often they can't.
Yeah, and Laser Sharks are no strangers to the backdoor. They've won previous Nexus Rumbles with backdoor strategies, and so they may be thinking about it constantly in their head and maybe thinking, maybe we can go for a backdoor. But of course, there's still the gate and a turret available in the mid lane, scouting out any sort of backdoor trying to go through that mid. But with the support camp now being taken by the German Efficiency, this is going to secure them most probably this 5th objective if Laser Sharks don't try and push forward. I'm not quite sure what they're waiting for.
They are coming now. I think they were hoping to get level 26 just for that 4% extra damage. I don't think they're going to get it in time, so they have to go. It's 2 turrets versus 2 healing items and 2 turrets. So effectively, it's just a two item advantage now for the German Efficiency team, who've been, I have to say, very efficient at taking camps in this game, and they've been all over those camps. In fact, if we take a look at the mercenary XP, it's 12,000 mercenary XP to 5.7k for their opponents. So, you know, absolutely dominating on camps here, German Efficiency, but they haven't managed to close out this game yet. And Heroes of the Storm, you know, the game's never over till it's over. I always say it's more like chess than football, because, you know, one blunder, you can be winning all game, and one blunder loses you the game. And that's something that, you know, the German Efficiency will be really worried about now. They've controlled this game so much, 10 kills to 4. They're 2 keeps up. Can they close it out now as the final fight kicks off?
Yep, and we see the black hole coming out now, trying to catch any of the blue team. But the blue team get the protector. They get this 5th protector, and they might be able to do something with this. Bargui trying to push forward. Maybe thinking about getting in that protector. Thrall is walking it incredibly further. But with the Earth and Shields, it's proving really good here for Thrall. Level 20. But there's a lot of backdoor pressure. Oh,
yeah, Phoenix has ported back to base to deal with those 3 catapults. Bear in mind, the other thing that scales very high in the late game is these catapults. They would have melted that core left and center. Absolutely the right call for Phoenix to go back and deal with it. Or he could have planet cracked it, maybe, to deal with it that way. But now, the problem is Gazlo's being caught out here by the ETC, and this protector just marching core, and this is a 32-minute protector. I don't think it cares about whether its teammates are around or not. This is just going to cut through that shield. Look, 1 chunk of shield, 5,000 hit points from the core per swipe. This is devastating to this core. I don't know if Lunara and Li Ming can put out enough damage. This might be the 2-0. It's falling pretty low, though. The protector's going down pretty low. ETC slides in, tries to get the mosh pit, but Joanna will interrupt the core as well, but the planet cracker's a finish!
Oh.
It's GG. 2-0. So the Laser Sharks, they maintain their position as the champions of the lower rumble.
Goodness me, Karis, that was incredible. I can't believe Laser Sharks turned that around once again. And German Efficiency were ahead with the match, but oh my, they pulled it off and able to take game number 2 to have a 2-0 sweep. That's really quite something here for Laser Sharks. They should be patting themselves on the back, thinking we got out that the skin of our teeth, but we certainly did manage to do it in the end. So that's definitely a big value for them. Now, yeah, I mean, German Efficiency, they should pat themselves on the back. They did really well both games. Just perhaps need to think, how are we going to end the game? So, but still, well played from them.
Yeah, I mean, German Efficiency, they had everything right for the whole game until I think it was really just one slip up there. I think they thought the objective would take longer to channel than it did, and the blue team just got the positioning and just said, look, we're just going to control the position and just get that protected gun. And, you know, once that protector, which was a 32-minute protector, was secured, it kind of didn't matter what happens in the ensuing fight. And, you know, ETC did some great jobs of kind of slowing German Efficiency from defending and stuff. But fundamentally, you know, that protector was so late game, it would have been impossible for them to deal with on the side of German Efficiency. So they just weren't quite in time to contest it. But wow, what a performance from them. And we saw so much resilience throughout the whole game, so much adaptation to deal with the combinations that their opponents are putting out. And control, like we said, like Mercenary XP was like 13k to 6k or whatever it was. So many camps captured, so much of the map controlled, so many fights won with huge grab bombs. But ultimately, it just wasn't enough. And a new team will come to the lower rumble next week.
They will indeed, and if you want to be that challenger, if you're between divisions 5 and 6, please sign up with our link in the chat. There's !rumble will take you to our blog post detailing what you want, and !rumble sign up gives you exactly what you want, which is just the sign up link saying put me in, transparent. I want to be there. I want to fight Laser Sharks. I want to take them down in the 9th week of the Nexus Rumble next week. Here, once again, at 1930 CET is exactly where we start. But this is not all we have today, is it, Karis?
It is not. We have our upper rumble coming up in just a few minutes. Now, Transparent, do you think it's time we revealed who those teams are going to be?
Yep, I think we should.
So, Phobos, the current champions, who are they going up against, Transparent?
They are going up against Complex, a team that they faced just earlier this week, and it was a very close series with, you know, with teams just taking after being Phobos in the lead in the 3rd game, but it was 2-1 at the end. Yeah, it's gonna be really something.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an excellent series here from the from these two teams. As you say, some of the top teams in Division 2. I mean, what a series we've just witnessed in the lower rumble from those two teams in Division 5. Now we're going to go up to Division 2. Complex currently top of Division 2. Phobos 1 match behind. So very close teams in the division. And as you say, it was 2-1 in the earlier series. But I mean, isn't this is really some exciting series we've got going on? I believe the maps are already being selected by these two teams here. They are already doing their map bans, and
yeah. So I will walk you through those beautiful map screens as we go to our map draft pick. We have Phobos taking on the team Complex. Complex being the challengers. So Phobos, they banned out Volskaya Foundry. They saw what a huge impact it had today, you know, having such combat mechanics. And I know that a couple of players on Phobos do not enjoy that map at all. But what we have on the side of Complex, they banned out Cursed Hollow, another map that we just saw being won by the Laser Sharks. And after that, Infernal Shrines being banned out by... Oh, no, sorry. Towers of Doom banned out by Food for Phrobius, another sort of big map. So these big maps being taken out of the pool. And with Dragonshire also banned out by Complex, we see that Complex were actually the ones to pick the map. And and we're going to be going over to Infernal Shrines, Karis.
Infernal Shrines, so sometimes called the standard HOTS map. Nothing, it's nothing too spicy in either sense on this map. It's very, very much the most popular map in Heroes Lounge. I mean, what's the typical kind of draft flavor you get here on Infernal Shrines?
Yeah, well, Infernal Shrines, it's big sort of. You've got to have the wave clear for the rotations. You've got to have the wave clear for the shrine itself, and maybe a little bit of pressure. So something like a Sylvanas is going to be highly prioritized, as well as perhaps something to defend the Immortal. Sorry, not the Immortal, the Punisher. I'm just garbling all my words today.
The Protector, the Robot, the Terror, the whatever it is, you've got to have something to deal with it.
Yeah, and so Reyna can be incredibly good there as well. I really like the way that Reyna sort of cleans it up really easily with just any of his auto attacks, but especially with that Exterminate talent on level 1. So, you're defending an objective that you may have lost, but if you've got a good defense, you don't lose too much, especially in those early objectives. So I do kind of like him here. Whether either team will opt for that or go for a more aggressive strategy, like maybe a Mephisto that we saw played so well in game number 1 of our lower series.
Yeah, Mephisto was so important in that game number 1, and we saw that devastating damage later on towards the end of that game, and in fact, it secured the victory for the Lazer Sharks back then. But that was a very different game, of course, and we will no doubt see some different things here from these teams as we go towards the Infernal Shrines in Division. Yeah, I mean, these are Division 2 teams, transparent. I mean, how do they differ in playstyle from Division 5 teams, do you think?
Well, I think that they will be punishing when we get to the late game. As soon as any mistake is made, they will beeline to the core as soon as they can, and they'll know exactly how to deal with it, focusing those heroes down incredibly well, and we'll see the draft being prioritizing perhaps Imperius as well, something that didn't quite get picked as often as I'd expect in the lower Rumble. But yeah, it's certainly something to consider, as well as just general objective use. As soon as you've lost an objective, expect to see these Division 2 teams go to somewhere else on the map to get value.
Yeah, so we'll see how these teams play. Of course, there's lots of different ways you can play Infernal Shrines, and that's one of the reasons the teams play it like this. So one of the reasons why the teams pick the map so much is because there's different ways of playing it. So, one of the things that we were talking about actually is that the Food for Phrobius have the first pick. We didn't actually mention that they have a sub today. I believe their opponents have a sub as well. If you,
we do have the wonderful Samu Plays subbing in for Food for Phrobius. Yep, they're missing a certain player as their PC wasn't feeling too well, and on the side of Complex, they're also missing their offlaner, as I think they have a little bit of child's trouble right now. So we have Sigurd on the side of Complex. So both teams are at their full strength, but both will be looking to turn up as they are fighting so fiercely for the top of Division 2.
Yeah, so Samu in the chat already saying, "Will we show the power of the hacker, known for his licking skills?" That's Samu. So anybody who is interested in learning more about tongue skills, then contact Samu in the chat. And we'll see him demonstrating as the game goes on. So I think we are actually ready to head into the draft in game number 1 in this best of 3 series on Infernal Shrines. So here we are in Infernal Shrines. Welcome to the upper series of the Heroes Lounge NEXUS Rumble. On the left, it's Food for Phrobius, and on the right, it's Complex. And it's Food for Phrobius who will have the first ban, and therefore the the first pick in this draft.
Yep, and they'll be thinking about having what do they want to get at that first pick value. Obviously, you've got the Imperius, you've got the ETC that they've been prioritizing. Maybe the Garrosh as well, something that they've done incredibly well with in the past. Maybe they'll be thinking about prioritizing the off lane, as they've got a substitute here for the off lane, and they might want to prioritize what they pick usually. But they might just have a whole new bag of strategies coming out here, and they're having a good old think about it. Obviously, I spoke about Kerrigan earlier being banned out, and that's a little bit unfortunate for them, but it's going to be the Tracer, as White Tiger's so well known for being punishing on that hero.
Yeah, more known for punishment than White Mane. So what's going to be picked up here, what's going to be banned here in response by Complex? I mean, do they go for the kind of target bans, or do they go for more of the kind of meta bans? You know, we talked about the strength of Gazlo there in game number 2 of our last series. Is that going to be something that's prioritized here in these Division 2 games?
Possibly, especially on this map, Infernal Shrines, where you've got that point control and somewhere that you have to set up and maybe get a bit of value, but you know, the Gazlo turrets might hit the wrong target if you're not careful, so can be a little bit worrying. And if they think it's strong, I'm sure they'll be looking to pick it up. But we see Anna being banned out, which was a hero that went by the way in our lower series, so something that's really prioritized much more in the higher levels, especially when you can hit those skill shots consistently like Jam and Breakraven can. It's going to be banned out.
Yeah, I think that's something that that's reasonably banned out there. But now you've got Diva open, you've got Gazlo open, you've got Imperius open. Are those going to be targeted? I suspect Diva will get banned. No Stukov. So the pool of supports here getting a bit squeezed by both of these teams. So we might see that the healers getting picked up in kind of this first round of picks. But there's the Joanna slammed in by Sunny. Not going for the signature Diablo.
No, not the Diablo, nor the Imperius, but the ETC, of course, was banned out. Now, yeah, Johanna obviously maybe something to sort of think about picking against Snowbee. Snowbee's well known on the Diablo as well. And so you've got to think, you know, these teams, they know each other incredibly well. They play a lot sort of just together in general. And the fact that support's being banned out, like the Stukov, means that it's going to be cut down, because Jam has been showing off incredible moves on the Stukov, on the Anna, and especially in this rematch from just the game just the other day. Yeah, these guys really know what they want here. And Imperius being picked up by Snowbee with the Tychus, they're looking to get some big burst going down.
Yeah, but if Joanna's probably one of the better tanks at dealing with Tychus, and absolutely Diablo would have been melted by it. There's a Blaze picked up for the offlane by Samu. Nice little pickup there. Very good wave clear, very good shrine clear as well on that objective. Very good at fighting in those close spaces where the stuns can hit multiple targets. I really like a Blaze pickup for the offlane here. But he is a little bit vulnerable to Tychus, actually, because of that percentage damage cuts through that 40 armor that Blaze depends on for his survivability.
Yeah, and it can be a little bit worrying, because, you know, he has so much HP, which is really good against normal heroes, but against Tychus is going to be less valuable. He is able to clean the shrine nice and easily, but I do wonder what the red team of Complex will be picking up in these later stages. White Tiger getting a little bit focused here with the Jaina being picked up, but still a couple of heroes that's in his hero pool, like the Valor, but that might be something that Fufaphobus are expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's nothing too surprising. Look at that Zool though. That's juicy already, right? Because you've got the potential double tick value of the Zool, and you know, as well as the fact that the roots will bait out some kind of CC response, like a cleanse or a medallion, or in Blaze's case, maybe he's going to press his bunker, or if he gives new habits, his trait, and that leaves the target's a little bit more exposed to the Imperius engages as well.
Yeah, but we see a Zeratul now being picked up as a DPS, as well as a Brightwing being the healer. We're looking to maybe shut down some of these heroes like the Orphea, like the Imperius. There's not a great deal of health on the side of Complex right now, Garrus, and that's a little bit scary.
Can I say why I love the Brightwing pickup there by Jam? So there's two factors to it. One is that Brightwing is a nice Zeratul counter. And so by picking it up with the Zeratul, you say you can't counter our Zeratul with the Brightwing. But the other thing is that the Brightwing cleanse is effectively, if she's going for the reduced cooldown on level 4, which I suspect she will, it can be one of the shortest cooldown cleanses on the game, and it's AoE. So when Imperius skewers people, when Zul's rooting people all the time, which is going to be their kind of main form of engage, we'll probably see Brightwing using that D to immediately cleanse it and not worrying too much about the cooldown punishment of it, like you would with, say, a traditional cleanse like a Rhaegar, because, of course, you can just use some auto attacks to bring that cooldown right down.
Yeah, and, you know, against the Imperius, that's going to be so valuable. And against Azul, as you were saying. But with the white mane on their side, that's going to be more than enough healing to sort of deal with the HP problem that the red team sort of have. Both drafts are so good, Karis. Which one sort of do you favour right now?
Right now, I'm favouring the Food for Phrobius draft overall, and I've bet 500 points on it. So if you want to take my points in the chat, type !space bet. Bet space B if you want to bet on complex and a number of points at the end. And then if complex win, you can take all those juicy 500 points off me. DK in the chat with the big bet on Food for Phrobius. Perhaps.
Betting 501 points. Well, I'll just even it out and I will bet 500 on complex. Just because someone needs to win some points today. And it could be you, Karis, if you're taking mine. Yeah, these teams, they played earlier. They played just earlier this week. And on Infernal Shrines, Complex were the winners. So statistically, they've got a 100% win rate against Food for Phrobius. So, you know, I think my points are pretty safe. They had a little different draft. And it's quite interesting to see sort of change in draft when these teams have already played against each other just earlier in the week. Once again, if you're just joining us, this is the Nexus Rumble of Heroes Lounge, and this is the upper series, which is Divisions 1 to 4. And 2 teams right now, Division 2 top teams, trying to take on each other to see who's going to be the big in-game winners.
Yeah, and what is the Nexus Rumble transparent? Why don't you tell us what that is?
Oh, the Nexus Rumble. Oh, it's a weekly winner stays on series. So what happens is that whoever wins stays on for the next week, and they have to defend their title. And it's just a little best of 3 every Sunday. We have a lower series and upper series starting at 19:30 CET. And yeah, it's just a bit of extra fun that we can have, a little bit of extra spicy competition for those who want to show that they're the best in Heroes Lounge. They're the ones who are really owning the leagues. If they're the ones that are going to take on the champions, they have to be ready. And the champions don't know who they're going to face. Every week, they're sort of like, they have to come in blind just 30 minutes beforehand. They might just know who they're going to play, but they might not know at all. And here we are. Complex have come in strong against Food for Phrobius. Although I believe Food for Phrobius had a little inkling of who they might face this week.
Yes, I think they maybe suspected something like that. We're just waiting for the players to load in to this game. But I mean, tell me, I mean, like, so we've talked about this draft here, but you know, independent of draft, you know, who do you think would be the favorite coming in between these 2 teams?
I mean, it's so hard to say. Just looking at, you know, the Division 2 standings, these teams are both right up at the top. And the skill level is off the charts with a lot of these teams. You know, the DPS players on both teams are incredibly good, as well as, you know, the tanks and the supports. You know, there's top-tier talent sort of just breaching that, you know, level of Division 1-2 boundary, which is why they're at the top of Div 2, of course. So they really can show their stuff. It's I mean, I couldn't say either way. Food for Phrobius, with their full roster, may be able to take Complex on a good day, but Complex, equally, they're having a good day. They'll put up a really good fight against Food for Phrobius. You can't judge it either way.
No, you can't. And this is it's going to be a really close series. That's one thing I think we know for sure. So I think we're about to head into game number 1 in this best of 3 series. The players having loaded in. And in blue on the left, we have Food for Phrobius with Hat on Zeratul, Jam on Brightwing, Sidonian on Tassadar, Sunny on Joanna, and Samu Plays subbing in on Blaze.
Yep, and on the red team, we have Complex with Penelope on Tigers, Break Raven on the white main, Face Snoby on Imperious, Tigger on Zul, and White Tiger on Orphea.
So both teams have picked up their level 1 talents. Now, Blaze has gone for that new habits at level 1, as we suspected, because of the amount of CC that Zul and Imperious are able to put out. And of course, new habits will make Blaze impervious to that when he wants. Brightwing, of course, going for the traditional hyper shift, nothing surprising there. Tassadar, static charge to stack that beam quite a lot.
Yeah, and you know, this early fight not being taken by Complex here. They're just trying to back out, maybe not giving Complex Sidonian on the Tassadar stacks that they want. So smartly played here, just getting those rotations in early.
Yeah, so nothing too surprising there, because of course Zeratul weaker early game. So I think in that sense, the Impervious are happy to play a bit cautiously early game and wait for Zeratul to come online a bit. Now, is this a potential gank onto Imperious? But no, Zeratul sniffs it out and takes an Imperious Spear to the face. Of course, Jam on the Brightwing, immediately ready to Zed, and get that cooldown reset as soon as possible as well on the wave.
But Sidonian is being focused a little bit here in the bot lane, and White Tiger is looking forward to get the kill, but with 50 HP, Sidonian survives, but the counterattack from Hat onto the Orphea, if you just step a bit too far forward, you're gonna get punished, and well punished here by the blue team.
Yeah, I mean, it was the right call, I think, from Complex to try to say, look, we know Brightwing's just used her phase shift, so they don't have a healer available for the Tassadar, so let's try and kill him because he's not got much HP. But it just couldn't quite finish the kill, and of course, in the desperation trying to secure that kill, came out of position, and Zeratul rotated so quickly to get to that and finish the job.
Yeah, and with that, they are looking to take this bottom camp here. Hat is doing their best auto-attacking away, maybe a little bit secretly. Obviously on Zeratul, you are always in threat of the enemy team, and with Brightwing pointing down, they're going to easily secure this bottom camp and maybe get a little bit of pressure on Orphea. She's polymorphed as well. Hat not quite ready to blink in, maybe not feeling confident just yet, but Sidonian being focused as well on the Tassadar, and White Tiger is able to pick up that kill. Tassadar just looking a little bit, just getting punished there for standing still a little bit too long.
Yeah, I mean, Tassadar is so itching, played by Sidonian here, so hungry to get those stacks up and running on that level 1. On that level 1 static charge, but of course, when you're standing still, throwing out auto attack, throwing out casts like Tassadar was, that sets you up to take a big spanking from Orphea, and White Tiger on the Orphea was ready to deliver that. So Tassadar got to be careful of that as the game proceeds, but I think that's something that we're just seeing early game as Sidonian tries to get those stacks up and running.
Now we're seeing an ideal Zul objective here, but as we talk about Zul, he puts on trying to get the bone prison onto Blaze, but Blaze popping his medallion, able to escape there. But as I was saying, this is an ideal objective for Zul, as he can just easily rotate between mid and bot, soaking the lanes, while the red team try and maybe stall the top objective as long as possible. I don't think they're too afraid to give it, if I'm honest.
No, I think they won't be too afraid. But of course, Blaze can double soak as well as Zul. So one talent I was slightly surprised by at level 4, by the way, because I was talking about Brightwing getting that cleanse cooldown reduction at level 4 to punish the Zul engages, but she hasn't gone for that. Instead of going for the Dream Shot, which will give more poke, of course, and more control of those shrines, more damage in those shrines. That suggests they're playing a bit more of a passive game. They're going to try and play around those engages with medallions. And of course, the fact that Joanna and Blaze already have their own unstoppables. Or as Joanna gets engaged on, in comes the Zed from Brightwing immediately to top Joanna, up to full health, that ancestral healing value of Brightwing.
And here comes Zul looking for the flank, trying to make sure maybe something to there, but Snoby gets the spear onto Sonny. Sonny having to pop the medallion, maybe trying to look to get out, but with the lot of the feeding, Samus plays, gets the big 4-man stun as the Blaze, and Sonny's looking to get the re-engage. Sidonian trying to put out as much damage here on the Tassadar, but with 2 people stuck here on the top, the blue team are now closing in, but White Tiger's not going to try and go down without a fight. Sonny on 100 HP being punished incredibly, but with new habits being completed by Blaze now with the blue objective going over, they're trying to punish Snoby. Snoby goes down, and White Tiger is there now stuck all by themselves as the blue team is going to try and close in here to get the kill.
And they will surely get this Orphea, but can she take Hat out in the process? I don't think so. That is going to be another kill. So I have to say the flanking play from Samuel on the Blaze, spot on. That's what you pay a Blaze for. Just came in, says, look, I'm Blaze. I don't give a toss about any of what's going on. Slam in the side, bang, 3 stun, bang, there's follow-up kill. The damage there from Tass and from Zeratul, and that gave the Joanna the space to escape. And of course, they used a lot, the side of Complex had used a lot of resources trying to bring down that Joanna. Cleverly, Sunny playing around her Medallion as well as the Iron Skin. Oh, but now getting caught out, potentially has the Iron Skin though this time, and immediately jammed with a phase shift, just topping Sunny up completely. Huge tank healing that you get from Brightwing with that phase shift.
Yeah, it really can be incredible, especially with the level 1 upgrade and the additional shield at level 7. Just keeps people a little bit topped up. Samu here now a little bit further forward. White Tiger maybe looking to get some resets on that big Blaze booty, but it's rotating down as we see Hat has just been soaking the waves, and level 10s are not very far away for Food for Phrobius.
No, not very far away at all, and I think that's, at this point, Complex have to start giving their camp because the level 10's, seconds away at this point. So they are going to give away their siege camp. White Tiger looks, sees people are in there and says, no, thank you, I'm going away. He throws out a little bit of poke damage just because, you might as well get some resources used, but nothing, no chance of them contesting. Jam, in the meantime, got a little bit of damage from Tychus. Oh, here's a skewer, but they don't have the level 10 yet, and now Blaze is saying, I'm not going to be worried about that. But of course, Brightwing may well be. Yes, she has the shield for herself. Oh, lovely escape there with a blink heal. Nicely, and there's a black hole potentially to follow, but no follow-up onto that black hole. So for now, that's on a 1-minute cooldown.
Yeah, they've gone for the black hole here, which maybe just a little bit of an extra follow-up onto that Void Prison. The icons sort of nice and matching here with a blue circle and a green circle, but we see Sonic here getting caught out a little bit, separated there by a force wall and just peeling away, but Iron Skin means no problemo.
Yeah, nothing too much to worry about there for Joanna. So far, again, it's only 3 kills to 1, but you just get the feel there's a little bit of momentum in the favor of Food for Phrobius. And of course, once that Zeratul comes online, then they'll be quite scary. I think the overall view in the there, especially as they've got another pick there onto that Orphea with the help of Zeratul. Now they may be looking for Zul. I think Zul will escape safely enough, but this may allow Food for Phrobius to think about contesting another camp or controlling potentially the mid towers or the mid well where the next objective will be.
Yeah, they're looking to just get the pressure and push in, keep that lead. That's all important on the side of Food for Phrobius on Infernal Shrines. If you're playing Infernal Shrines and you're sort of not quite sure what to do when you're ahead, it's just keep pressure. Keep that pressure, keep it going. Keep the lead, because if you have that lead and you maintain the soak, you'll just stay ahead and be ahead on every shrine, and that is what Food for Phrobius is doing. They're looking to try and pick up this 13 before the thing, but Medallion being used here by Tassadar. Now on cooldown, as Snowbee did hit that spear, but well used by Sidonian.
So this is a nice play from both of the teams here, and I think both teams are going to pick up their camps in a timely manner. But of course, because of the XP lead, this is kind of in favor of Food for Phrobius because they're going to get the level 13 with this mercenary XP, and that gives them the talent advantage for this objective. And I don't see, to be honest, I don't see Complex trying to contest this 12 versus 13. I think they're just going to back off and doing exactly that, saying we're not really interested in contesting. The Brightwing phase shift comes out, so now once that shield goes down, there's an argument to say, well, Brightwing doesn't have a heal, so maybe they can look for an engage, but they still don't have that 13, and I think that would be a problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, you can use a little bit of trying to get that minion soak in the mid lane at the same time, maybe trying to get some reduction, and she's going to position around there. But with that extra 55 spell armor, that's going to be so good going against this Orphea.
Yep, and so now this objective will be picked up nicely by Food for Phrobius, and they will march that onto the mid fort. Of course, there's still a fort there, and there's still even one tower, but I think those will fall pretty swiftly, especially because it's a frozen Punisher, which will disable this fort as it jumps in. in just a few seconds. Although Imperia's got to be careful that Joanna doesn't follow up on that Punisher jump. I think this is the point where they say, look, the fort's definitely gone. I don't care about getting some damage on it. Samu finds Zul, maybe a little bit out of position, throws out the stomp, but it will suddenly be able to follow up. There's the Blessed Shield. In comes the Polymorph as well from Brightwing. They're doing a lot of chain TCs, but here comes the Orphea damage to start zoning. The Eternal Feast still going out onto that Tassadar, doing so much, but the Black Hole BB combo didn't quite work because Zeratul was too zoned out to cancel his VP. And now Samu's in a world of hurt. Going to get rooted by Zul. He doesn't have his D available this time. And Imperius catches onto Joanna as well. So it's 2 kills for nothing. They may be going for more here. White Tiger on the Orphea starting to chase onto Zeratul, but Hat will blink away to safety.
Yeah, and that was beautifully played here by the red team. Getting caught out a lot, but with the Orphea, with the Eternal Hunger, just proving to be so good at zoning out the Tassadar, meaning that they couldn't follow up on that Void Prison quite how they wanted. So really well played here by Complex, as they're now taking a little bit of charge here, trying to get some momentum back from the blue team as move into the second half of the game.
Yeah, lovely calls here from Complex. Now, a big part of it was the way they controlled Zeratul so that he wasn't able to cancel that VP when they did that VP Black Hole combo, because there were 3 people in that Void Prison, and if that if that Black Hole had connected on top, that would have been devastating to Complex. Even rivaling the value that the Eternal Feast got in that fight. So I think that's unfortunate for Phobos, and I think they're going to be really watching out to make sure that doesn't happen in future fights. And if they get that VP Black Hole combo off, it potentially will be game winning.
Yeah, and Complex are just more than happy to just take the camps, take some pressure, get a bit of breathing room. As you know, level 16 is just around the corner for Phobos. We see almost all medallions are available, apart from Zul, who used it so well to be able to make sure they got that Poison Nova off. As we sort of move into these later stages, who do you think's got the better comp for the late game?
It feels like it has to be the blue team Food for Phobos here, because they've got the Zeratul and the Tassadar. But let's not underestimate the value of a late game Tychus, by the way. He's going to be ramping up and up in threats to, particularly to Blaze and Joanna, who've kind of been so far up in the front line with kind of impunity. But you've got potentially to getting the sizzling attacks maybe at level 16 now. Or Imperius goes for a skewer onto Joanna, press the item. But also just the threat that he's putting out to those heroes. Although Zeratul gets sniffed out by Imperius, blinks in, has the Brightwing phase shift coming in, but that means Brightwing is in a world of hurt, throws out a Poly. Oh, but the Blessed Shield catches onto 3 here with the punish to follow. That's the Black Hole into the wall, absolutely devastating. But actually Sidonian is the one getting punished here. But Brightwing with a huge blink heal keeps Tassadar alive as he walks away to safety, and his team is now completely split. But Tassadar has finally died. But will White Tiger's Orphea go down in response? Yes, so 1 for 1.
But Jam is being punished as well. The Blink Hill able to get her away as well, trying to get there. But no, the Blink Hill also puts her on a target on her as Snowy is able to punish them completely. Johanna is just half-zoned away in the bushes, and the Bunker comes out to save Samu Plays. The Complex just being incredibly punishing here on the side against Phobos. Yeah, I think Zeratul was looking for that engage, but didn't quite find the Void Prison that they wanted to.
No, but they still managed to get an absolutely huge black hole into the force wall and get some serious damage. But Tassadar had to step so far forwards in order to achieve that. He was getting punished, and then he just kind of had to spend a lot of the fight running away. And although they were able to ultimately punish the Orphea for chasing the Tassadar, that still, that zoning that had been provided just meant that they weren't able to follow up with kills.
Yeah, we see that they, the team's now positioning around this top objective. It can be so easily flanked. We had one earlier, and the Blaze was so good at pushing it, but we see Hat going in on the backline here, getting the White Tiger, being the Unstoppable now being popped. So much damage coming in here now from Hat on Zeratul, pushing against White Tiger, and he was being sustained by Breakraven, but finally goes down, as well as this Hat goes down on there. But Sonny gets away with 200 HP, and Seer's getting healed as well by Breakraven. These HP bars are just being traded over and over, but Sidonian is now too far forward, and Tassadar gets taken out by the Tychus. Oh,
I can't believe. And it's not over yet, by the way. In comes Imperius for another skewer, this time onto Blaze, and Tychus is there, ready to put out some damage. Samu Blaze does manage to jet away for now. But yeah, I mean, what? First of all, can I say credit to the White Mane played by Breakraven here. No other healer, I think, could have saved Orphea for as long as they did, and that black hole wall combo. Like, how long did Orphea live for under serious firepower? just with incredible healing there from White.
Yeah, we've seen some incredible use of the intercession cleanse there to make sure they got out of trouble. You know, the mobility of Orphea means that she can be shut down by any CC, but with a nice little handy cleanse just in time, you can get that White Tiger out very nice and easily. And as we go into the later stages of the game, Whitemane does become more and more powerful, but so does Zeratul. So as level 20s approach, there's going to be all sorts of fun happen. But as we see, the blue team were taking their loss in stride and taking the fort of their own, and red team have to come back here and chase them down. But yeah, a lot of pressure going on to Samu here, just from the Orphea as the Punisher pushes down the top lane.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not just the Punisher. Look how many minions are there. And don't forget, minions do bonus damage to structures. And those range minions do a lot of damage. There's a black hole wall, but this time Imperius not so much in any danger from it. Just walks gradually away. But look how much damage these minions are doing to these towers whilst the Punisher is creating the space. Joanna and Zeratul will go and clear those minions up fairly safely. So what does the red team do? They go and they try to secure a camp steal.
I talked about it earlier, you have to get good defense for the objective as well, and with only sort of Townstar as your range defense, it can be a little bit tricky. But we see Hat here comes in with the Void Prism now on the camp. Sidonian's ready to put some damage in here on the Tigers maybe, but the cleanse comes out from Breakwave once again, but he's been shut off by this Force Wall. The Force Wall is incredible. The Polymorph onto the Whitemane as well. She's unable to sustain herself if she's poly, but no, with so many Qs being used, it's so good to get away, and even with the medallion uses, Zeratul gets taken out by Complex.
The stun from Samu missed, and that means he's in trouble as well. If there's one thing I know about Blaze, is if you miss your stun, you can be in serious trouble. And now Sunny and Jam both have to walk away. The Black Hole this time used just a zone to keep White Tiger away from finishing off the Brightwing. And yes, it will do exactly that, but there's not much else they can achieve here. Although Orpheus coming in very hard, but look at Breakraven sitting safely there in the bush, putting out so much healing. But now White Tiger's so hungry, dives under the fort, but that leaves Whitemane completely alone, and Tassadar has punished that. Nice little divide and conquer strategy there from Food for Phobius.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to get that. I think a little bit of the greed there. The friendliness of both teams coming out there is showing that they want to just look extra dominant. And White Tiger getting sniffed out here. I don't think they're going to live for long, Karis.
No, they are not. Throw out the Eternal Feast before dying, because that has a pretty short cooldown, but no, that won't achieve much. Anyway, so that's another long death for 60 more seconds there on the side of Orphea. Level 20 talents were picked up by the teams, by the way. So one thing we didn't talk about is the interaction between Poison Nova and Bunker. And I really like picking up Bunker against Poison heroes like Zul with the Poison Nova, because you get poison on you, and it's a very long duration poison. All you do is you get in the bunker and it's gone. And that's really effective at dealing with that poison strategy, because as soon as Blaze sees Zul press that poison over, he just presses bunker and all of his team can just pile in when they get poisoned. Now, here's a route onto Tassadar. Got to be careful, but the black hole does provide the zoning. But look at the poison damage, and Blaze isn't here to provide that bunker this time. Jam, on the other hand, does have that fairy protector available. So this is what I was saying I would have liked to have seen in the lower series rumble that we saw it, but we saw the movement speed talent from level 20 Brightwing. But the Fairy Protector will give AoE 55 spell armor to Brightwing's teammate and to Brightwing herself, by the way. And that's going to be so valuable against the Poison Nova as well, and as well as damage, as well as protection against the Orphea damage that we've seen coming out so far.
Yeah, and this is going to be so important as well, because Whitemane has just been sustaining so much, and Brightwing's going to struggle to keep up with that without that Fairy Protector. I mean, Whitemane, we had a polymorph, and she was being chased down by the Zeratul, but as soon as that polymorph ran out, Whitemane's able to save herself, just spamming that martyrdom on herself, able to get good attacks. But no, we see them now trying to get in here on the top of the objective. The blue team being pushed back in danger. We still have heroic cooldown, but big impale here coming out from the Imperius, trying to chase down this front line as Void Prism's the back line. Imperius is going to be stuck by themselves. Blaze goes in here with the big 3-man stun following up on the Void Prism, but Sam is being shredded by that Tigers. Now obviously he has to pop the bunker. Zul still available, has the 10 seconds left on his heroic. The Eternal Fist is chomping out, finding Sidonian as Orphea is a little bit far forward as well, but looks like blue team are retreating as they do have a member down.
This Orpheus is absolutely devastating. In comes Zeratul trying to punish. Imperius just about misses the stun. And Zeratul's taken down the Orpheus, who was the main threat here for the red team. Now Zeratul's starting to chase. He wants to catch the Imperius. Snowbee walks away as fast as he can, but he's carrying a spear, and it's pretty heavy, and it's hard to walk away quickly. And by the way, there's a camp pushing top, and Catapult pushing bot, and the mid lane is tender. This is a tough situation now, but it is still 4v4. But there is a Frozen Protector marching towards this bottom keep.
Yeah, and blue team look like they may be trying to get a little bit of a gank here on the top. Jam is chasing down some people. Breakraven is in a little bit of trouble. Not enough mana to perhaps sustain himself that he'd like, and he does get taken out by Hat here on the Zeratul. Oh, they won't be liking that, and the blue team now with this Protector Punisher in the bot lane is going to be disabling this keep soon or later.
That's so important. That Whitemane kill is so important because the unstoppable that Whitemane's been using to save, of course, save her team time and again, the level 21 and the level 7 one. That's now not available. So if they don't have medallions, then they're just going to get caught in the CC, potentially from Joanna, potentially from Blaze, potentially from the Black Hole, although that has now been used. But they've got to be so careful. This Punisher as well, still marching on the core with 60%, and Tassadar there starting to put out the poke.
Yeah, we can see from the UI that only Imperius has the medallion right now, and Hat is looking to blink away just to try and get them, but the Punisher jumping on the top people, and then looking to try and get this kill onto Snowbee. He is all by himself and not able to get away. This means the blue team might be looking to try and take the core right now.
Well, they have. I mean, I think they're going to try. There's an Eternal Beast hitting onto Tassadar already, but Orpheus has been taken down. The VP completely cutting off the XF as well. Blaze charges into that VP, but not worrying about it too much now. Now the Black Hole comes out for Zone Tigers, but I think this is going to be a good game. Well played going over to Food for Phobius here in game number 1 in this best of 3 Nexus Rumble series.
Yep, beautifully done by Food for Phobius, showing why they are the Nexus Rumble champions, turning up and taking out Complex in game number 1.
Yeah, nicely executed. I mean, it was kind of back and forth because there were a lot of good ideas here that came out from Complex, and in the early to mid game, Complex had a lot of strengths for them, and we saw there was a fight where I think it was actually over the last Punisher, over the last Shrine, where Imperius was kind of on his own for like 10 minutes and still lived, and Blaze kind of was trying to zone the members of Complex and got punished for it. And of course we talked about that magnificent healing of Breakraven's Whitemane. But ultimately, the Zeratul, here by Hat, got to late game and became a real menace to the Orpheus. And that became, that was what enabled them to secure those fights at the end. And of course that gank onto the Whitemane was absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and it's been proven time and time again that late game Zeratul is such a menace, and having these sort of sustained talents in the end, just being able to get those pick-offs. I mean, it almost looked like the bot objective was going to go over to the side of Complex, but coming back really strong and incredibly well. Complex struggled, and Phobos able to take out those quick kills. Really well played from them.
Yeah, I have to say, there's so many factors that went into this game. I mean, and we were talking about the bunker versus the Zul poison. And in the end, that didn't really play out in terms of how the fights actually went. The bunker more had to be used by Sammy because he was the one creating space for his teammates, and often he was, getting turned on by Tychus. Not to be confused with getting turned on by Tychus, but and therefore punished because, of course, Blaze's 40 armor doesn't help with that minigun percentage damage. So that meant that Blaze had to use the bunker for himself, and that means it wasn't available for his team. But still, the space that created allowed Zeratul to run amok, allowed Tassadar time to build up some damage as well. But ultimately, Zeratul, 63,000, you got to call out the MVP of the game, Transparent.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that Zeratul is always going to be impactful, and Hat did do some splendid work for sure. You can't rule out a Zeratul, especially when you got Void Prism about. One of the favourite heroics of all of Heroes of the Storm, I think. We have Battlefield of Eternity being picked up by Complex here. They opted to pick map instead of first pick.
Yeah, I mean, and that suggests they've got some strategies planned for Battlefield of Eternity. Of course, if you go for first pick, your opponent may go for some of those maps where second pick is more valuable, like we were saying about the Dragonshire or the. Of course, Dragonshire is banned, but Braxis, for example, is still open. So, yeah, not too surprising to go for that map pick, and we'll see what strategies they have in mind for it.
Yeah, obviously FIFA was taking game number 1. Complex has to do a back-to-back win here to try and get back into the game. FIFA will be thinking about, oh, well, BOE. We played BOE just the other day against you guys, I'm pretty sure. What did you play on BOE? This is almost a deja vu, I must admit. Well, they didn't actually play BOE, but they've played BOE certainly in scrims, so they know what to expect. And I expect the Diva will be quite highly prioritised for both of these teams.
Yeah, I think so. As well as race, strong race heroes like traditional race heroes like Reyna, Vala, Li Ming. Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of different ways you can play it, but you do tend to need immortal damaging heroes because they, as well as racing, as well as securing an advantage, they also are needed for defense if you lose the immortal.
Yeah.
So it's not like Infernal Shrines where the things that take the objective, clear the objective, where don't necessarily clear the objective. It's very much the heroes that take the objective are good at defending as well.
Yeah, and I think that's where the Valor is going to be a priority ban. White Tiger is incredibly well known on that Valor, especially. But Complex have brought in a trump card. They had a substitute in the first game, but now they're back with their full team against the substituted FIFA. This could be the edge that they need to take over and take game number 2 here in our Nexus Rumble Upper Series.
It could well be. I mean, so what's I mean, what do you think is going to be the feeling here for Complex? Because they are one map down. They've got to try something a little bit different.
Yeah, and they're going to be thinking, what can we do to make this a win? What can we do here? The teams barely even from game number 1. They were almost ahead at some points, and they had some really good things. But maybe they'll just be adapting their bans. They tried to focus Jam, who has been so good on the Stukov. But this isn't Stukov's best map, but it still can work, especially with the physical armor versus Valor. I think this game is just going to be. There's going to be some big mind games in terms of what draft is going to be the best way to get through this. BOE, you can have so many good things here, and Samu on the off lane might be looking at picking up a Dahaka as a little bit of a spicy pick on BOE, or Artanis if he's one of my favourite people.
Yeah, I mean, he does provide a strong race. I mean, what do you? I mean, I think he's quite counterable though, so teams might be cautious about picking him earlier in the draft because he can counter for that team fight value. But I mean,
yeah, we sort of had this thing. It's a very different map to Infernal Shrines, and that single target damage is going to be more than important here rather than the wave clear. So I expect Tassadar still may be a priority. He can do some great auto attack and damage, but Li Ming is going to be up there for sure, as well as probably the Jim Reyna.
Yeah, for sure those are going to be prioritized earlier on in the draft. I think we are about to head into the draft for game number 2 in this best of 3 series. So let's see if Complex can equalize and take us to a game number 3.
Yep, and here we go. Battlefield of Eternity. With blue team banning first. Obviously the red team opted to pick the map rather than have first pick. I think they know enough about the enemy team. FIFA Complex, I think they've scrimmed a little bit. They know each other very well, just general outside of Lounge, and obviously we're now at week 9 for the main season, so there's plenty of information out there to try and sniff out your opponents and what you're going to ban. And Tracer was the number one thing with Phobius here.
You're right, it is the end of week 9, and of course that means in 2 weeks we'll have the Heroes Lounge Draw Show on this channel at 1900 CET, when the teams for the playoffs will be drawn live on air, featuring analysis by a whole suite of guests. And tune in for that on this channel in 2 weeks' time. Back to the draft. ETC banned out here by Complex, and Anna again banned out by Food for Phobius. They don't like playing against the Anna.
Well, I think they also know that they want the Anna, and they know that if they don't first pick it, it's going to definitely be picked up in the 1-2 slot by Complex, possibly being Anna, and that is a disastrous composition to play against. So, and if you first pick it, you open yourself up to a bit of a dive composition coming out from the other team. So what do? You ban it out instead and pick something sturdy in your first slot. So Yrel being banned out, I think there's a bit of a prioritization going on here in the offlane.
Yeah, that's interesting because normally you see the higher prioritization on the race heroes here on Battlefield of Eternity. These teams, I think, really cautious about who's going to play that bruiser and provide the frontline value. Jam on the Stukov here. And we talked about the value potentially of that in game, in the draft of game number 1 and why that was denied there. So how do they respond on the side of Complex? They may go for that Li Ming that we talked about, the value there, or they could go for the Rainer or Valor for the Immortal Race. Greymane as well, still open. There's the Li Ming, picked up by Penelope here. And Garrosh for the tank.
Yeah, Garrosh is pretty good at controlling those front lines, as well as maybe catching Jam off guard, which is not too careful. Obviously, you've got the Unstoppable at level 4 with the Indomitable, as well as the new Medallion, so you can avoid some of these silences and maybe even the flailing swipes that Jam will be coming out with. But to answer that, there's Johanna and Greymane. Greymane's so important with that race, is it not, Karis?
It is very important for that race, and also kind of important for threatening the backliners of Complex, whoever they end up to be. We talked about, I know there was a lot of excitement in the chat to see a Sunny Diablo, but Sunny's not gone for the Diablo here, going for the Joanna again. I think the idea was, Diablo's quite vulnerable to Garrosh, because Garrosh is always threatening to punish Diablo if he or she ever charges in. And that's, I think, why Sunny's opted for that Joanna against Garrosh instead of the Lord of Terror, the Earl of Sandwich himself, Diablo. Yeah. So, what do they ban here? It seems to have been a missed ban by Complex.
Yeah, and unfortunately we can't see if they're doing sort of any ban, sort of gentleman ban agreements, but Tychus being banned out on the side of Phobius. They really didn't like going into that, and perhaps we'll see a Blaze being picked up in the offlane once again.
That's slightly surprising because, it was Penelope who played the Tychus in game number 1, and of course she's now on the Li Ming. Of course they can swap Penelope with White Tiger, or of course White Tiger can play that Tychus as well. But I wouldn't have thought the Tychus would have been such a high priority auto attacker for Battlefield of Eternity, because he doesn't offer as much race as some of the others, say the Valor, say the Rainer, for example.
Yeah, and with Tyrande being picked up, it means there's a lot of burst potential now on the side of Complex. The Tychus would have been sort of quite nice, and I think there was sort of, as you sort of say, the possibility of swapping about is definitely open. White Tiger and Penelope do have a little bit of an overlapping hero pool in some cases. I think this is one of them. So, they're obviously a little bit scared of some sort of blow up, and with Chen being the pickup in the offlane, I think it was a little bit sensible actually to ban out that Tychus.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that does make sense. Tassadar picked up again. This time, perhaps being played by Hat, although we'll see it in the swaps. Maybe be Hat or swap with Sidonian. Tyrande for Complex. That's you don't see her every day these days. That's obviously a lot of race value because of the mark and potentially the True Shot Aura. I was going to say also the True Shot Aura maybe will facilitate Rainer in doing some damage to the opposition. But of course, you do have a blind from Sunny's Joanna to maybe deal with that.
Yep, and there we go. We've had a little bit of a swapperoo going with White Tiger and Reina now, and the compositions are complete. So if you feel like you want to support one of these teams or feel like one of them's better, you can bet some points in the chat. You can do !bet A and then the number of points for Food for Phobius, or bet B for Complex. Yeah, with the number of points obviously at the end. This is a good draft from both teams here, and I'm excited to see what these guys are going to go forth in terms of the gameplay. Which do you prefer, Karis?
I have to say, this time I favor the draft of Complex overall. I think they've got the strong race potential as well as potentially good team fighting. So I'm backing Complex, but we'll have to see how it goes into game number 2.
Yep, and here we are, Battlefield of Eternity. We have Food for Phobius, our current champions in the Nexus Rumble Upper Series. We have Jam on Stukov, Hat on Greymane, Sonny on Johanna, Sidonian on Tazar once again. And up in the top lane, we have Sammy Plays on the Chen, rounding out Food for Phobius, the champions.
And the contenders this week are Complex in red. On the right, we have Snowbee playing the Imperius, Tamk on the Garrosh, White Tiger on Li Ming, Penelope on Reina, and Tyrande on Break Raven. And they're coming 5 bot for a gank.
Yep, 5 people bot. They do have an incredible amount of stun and control, and with the additional damage, White Tiger's looking to snipe this, maybe to bait over some people. Sidonian looking to go a bit further forward, but maybe to sniffed it out, thinking, oh, that's a bit risky going that way. Trying to take the patience. Oh, bold play here by both the blue team and the red team, and yeah, trying to snipe the wells now with their additional shields a little bit tricky. You're gonna have to try harder than that, White Tiger now.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think Snowbee's missed any XP. Gets up there in time. Sammy was trying to freeze the wave and not allow Snowbee the experience in time, but in fact Snowbee did make it back in time to get that XP, and now throws a skewer onto Chen as the fight rages on back at the bot lane.
Yeah, we do see a little bit of a tussle going on here. The Iron Skin there to prevent any sort of throw coming in from Tamke, but that's not going to be on cooldown, of course, for 25 seconds. We have some talents coming up here on the bottom. We do see Aether Walker being picked up by Penelope.
Yeah, so sometimes that is commonly picked here on Battlefield of Eternity because it does give bonus damage to the next magic missiles, and we'll just allow her to keep constantly mobile as well as Garrosh throws Joanna out, wants to control this camp. This is going to be a 4v4. Imperius can't rotate because he'll miss XP. There's the silence from Stukov, really punishing Garrosh. Tamke got to be careful. There's a nice heal though from Tyrande, keeping Garrosh well and truly alive with the 45 armor, saving those heals as late as possible as you want to do against the Garrosh. Really nicely played there by Break Raven, and the fight rages on, but the camp was secured by the blue team.
Yeah, and that's going to give them a little bit of an advantage. They're ahead in XP now, with Jam throwing out as many pustules as possible to pick off the red team. But once we get to level 4, Tyrande will be able to pick up some additional healings. After the talent shuffle that Tyrande has been through, she really needs that level 4 now to keep people alive, and it's really quite good with Garrosh, as Lynn's Chosen is incredibly good on high armor targets like Garrosh.
Yeah, it's really nicely played there by Tyrande and Garrosh. They calculated that, but of course they couldn't control the camp ultimately. Now, of course, Greymane did rotate top to secure that first camp at the top lane as well. So far, total camp control from the blue team. Of course, that's what you might expect from a team with a Greymane and a Tazzadoron. But Li Ming and Tyrande capping the Bruiser camp on the right-hand side for the red team. That'll be rolling in the top lane, and Sammy will have to start thinking about whether he wants to clear it or go race.
Yeah, a little bit later here for the blue team, just timing it out. They'd already cleared it, so they had time to Hearthstone as well. But Tamke is very far forward, gets the throw on Jam, but no one's there quite available to follow up. The medallion is used, but the stun now hit on Chen. He's going to take a lot of damage. White Tiger trying to put the pressure on. The Stagger is keeping it at bay for now, but he's going to fall slower and slower. And there's a big Imperial Stone coming out here, and it is taken down. That's going to be the first kill available for Complex here on Battlefield of Eternity.
Yeah, I think Chen started running away, but then he realized his route was cut off by the Immortal, and that's one of the dangers, of course, of fighting under the enemy team Immortal. So that's why Chen got picked off there. So that's the first kill, as you say, brings it up to 1-0, fairly neck and neck so far though. And the Bruiser camp still rolling in the bot lane for the blue team, by the way. Snowbee has to go and start thinking about clearing that up, otherwise it'll take some towers, which they don't want to give.
Yeah, but with this additional pressure from the red team, they've got such more race here available with the Reyna, with the Li Ming, and Sonic's positioning further forward to maybe try and get a little bit of pressure on Snowby here. He's been cut off, but he's going to jump over that wall so deftly with that impale.
And in the meantime, Greymane's racing, starting to chip that immortal health down sizably. So now they've got to think about doing something on the side of Complex. They walk in, they do secure that objective. In comes Imperius with a skewer onto the side. Don't the combo from White Tiger. Doesn't quite finish the job. Imperius really hungry to secure it, but Stukov provides the zoning. But of course, that means there was nothing available to save Joanna, who does go down. And that immortal is spawning in the top lane and ready to push. But they want Samu as well. Snowby doesn't quite catch.
Oh, but White Tiger catching the Tassadar there just off screen. Oh, just finding a kill.
Cheeky little snipe there from White Tiger on the side under that fort. Secures the kill onto the Tassadar. There played by Sidonian.
This is so aggressive coming out from Complex. They really want this game number 2 after being almost embarrassed on game number 1. No, they weren't. It was a very even game, but they want this game number 2 so badly to make this even, to make sure that they have a chance of becoming the champions of the Nexus Rumble.
Yeah, they want to take this to a game 3, if nothing else, for the thrill of Heroes of the Storm. There's the wall from Tassadar, tries to shut the door on Garrosh, but Tamkey's pretty healthy, won't be worried too much about that for now. Yes, both of these teams really want to be the Nexus Rumble champion. Of course, Food for Fribius have been here for how many weeks now, Transparent?
Oh, I think it's 3 or 4 possibly, I think now, even with our sort of little break week we had last week. But yeah, these teams are really taking on what they want to do. Complex here obviously had a win over Food for Fribius earlier this season. Thank you for the host, well, the raid here from Hoot coming in as well, bringing some viewers from their stream. But we have a bout here, the Nexus Rumble between Food for Fribius and Complex. White Tiger is hotly contesting this camp against Hat as Snowby's here to arrive, and White Tiger's falling lower and lower. Hat's trying to get that kill, and 20 HP on White Tiger, and the camp goes over to the blue team. But Snowby is falling lower and lower, getting slowed, but Samo's gone over to get the kill, and does indeed. Well played here from Food for Fribius, coming back with a bit of teeth and claws in this early mid stages of the game.
Yeah, really nice play there from Food for Fribius, catching the red team out, doing that camp. Secures himself a kill on to Imperius. I mean, as you say, Li Ming got away by a sliver of HP, so just about survived there by White Tiger. But it's very neck and neck here in game number 2 in this best of 3 Nexus Rumble series. It's 4 kills to do in favor of Complex, but they are down 3/4 of a level, and it's still everything to play for. But I think the level 10 advantage will be decidedly in favor of Food for Fribius as this next immortal phase spawns.
Yep, there's just around the corner. Both teams racing as hard as they can. Tassadar is struggling to keep up with the race potential of Li Ming, though, as Greymane and Reyna sort of equalize each other out. Li Ming just has a little bit extra damage, but Complex now maybe looking to pick up their Bruiser camp in the second stage as it spawns in a very defensive position.
Level 10 is in for Food for Fribius. Complex got to be careful with this Bruiser camp. They do manage it. Now the problem is, what do they do? In comes Chen, looking for Penelope's Reyna. Gets zoned a little bit by that Tyrant stun and the Immortal stun as well. Now Tamkey stepping in very far forward. This is 9v10, but they do have the Immortal on their side here. Tamkey holding it into the stun. That's a lovely throw into the Immortal stun to finish off the Joanna.
And that is the power of Garrosh on this map, and Hat goes in, gets able to get the kill onto Reyna, goes forward. The shove coming out of here, peeling away Snowby as the Archon is popped to maybe try and get the objective pushed over to the side of Food for Fribius, and they're kind of trying to look for another kill as the Panda Pals have gone in onto the top of Imperius, and he's going to get taken out. Another kill for Food for Fribius. This is going to be so good, as them pushing in this top lane is going to be easy when there's one hero less available for Complex.
Samu popping out that Boogie Wonderland there from the Chen, and that does secure that Imperius kill. But of course, Food for Fribius did have to go and clear that Bruiser camp, which was threatening a fort of its own, by the way. Now, Chen gone to Sig bottom, so this is right now a 4v4 defending this fort, so they should be able to get some damage on it. I don't think they'll be able to save the fort, just because there's still 4 heroes pushing on. Oh, that's a throw from Garrosh, just trying to keep Sunny away from engaging here. And Joanna's still very healthy, still thinking about it, but Garrosh, of course, his HP is deceptively high because of his armor trait, and they have managed to save the fort, thus proving I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yep, they are doing so well to zone off. The CC from Grosh has been deadly, and I think that Phobos are just a little bit scared of it now. As they rotate down to this bot lane, maybe trying to get something. They've exposed the whole of their top keep. This is an easy push here for Complex, and Yui is one of those maps that you sort of look to go get something clever over on the other side of the map, but open yourself up a little bit. But Phobos, no strangers to this, as they're going to push in hard on this bot lane and get a fort of their own.
Yeah, I think this is not something. Yeah, I think Phobos will be happy with this trade because this fort at the bottom lane was a lot healthier than the fort at the top lane that was taken by Complex. So in a sense, they've given up a strong fort for a weak fort on the side of Complex, and so Phobos pretty happy with that trade, all things considered. And of course, both teams got themselves a siege camp as well. And with the XP lead being half a level, maybe a little less, in the favor of Phobos, they're quite happy to trade things solidly. And by the way, Tassadar's trying to secure this top fort as well. As Garrosh goes running in, wants to catch on to Tassadar, presses unstoppable. Chen says no. Oh my, so it's the massive shove from Stukov, and now they're still trying to chase, but can they provide any slows? The stun from Garrosh does connect onto Joanna. There's the throw, she doesn't have unstoppable available. There's the taunt, gets poked down by the Reyna savagely, but now Chen plus the BBQ Wonderland start chasing in. Garrosh absolutely melted by that Stukov silence. Now the Chens are going to start chasing on the Tyrande as well. It's 2, is it going to be 3? It might well be, it might well even be 4 if Li Ming stays around too long here.
That was a big turnaround, and they pick up the fort at the same time. Sam is still chasing onto White Target, even with the Etherwalker. Is not going to save you here, using them down and able to escape. Oh, so many resources popped there just to get the kill on Johanna, but with the red team, or the blue team, Phobos being able to pop off, coming back, really proved the sacrifice of Johanna was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I mean, because it just took, as you say, so many resources, and then that means there was no CC resources left to stop Chen when he came in, with that Boogie Wonderland, Storm Earth and Fire, and got so much value immediately. And that, of course, that held people in place for the Tassadar to start pumping out some serious damage, and the Greymane to finish them off.
Yeah, we see now that the red team have to try and defend their Immortal. And the blue team one is just getting slowly poked by Li Ming. Garrosh goes forward, tries to get the stun onto Sonic. This is successful, and Sonic gets deleted by the rest of the red team. Just getting caught out here a little bit by Tamkai on that Garrosh.
Yeah, and this is the time for them to do that, because of course now there's no Chen ult available to punish that. Now they can punish the Chen if he comes in too hard, which he's thinking about doing right now. Samuel has to pop his stagger, step back a little bit because Li Ming's putting out some zoning damage. Look at the wall! Tamkai locked in the bucket in the U-bend there and flushed with damage by the Tassadar, but now Greymane comes in. They want to fight this despite being a Joanna down. They do have an Immortal on their side in Imperius Props' shield and gets thrown to safety, but now the shove completely gets rid of Reyna, so this is a potential time where they are 4v4 with the help of the Immortal, but Li Ming will surely poke this down.
Yeah, after a really healthy start for Phobos, this second phase just gets completely wiped by Complex after getting that initial kill. They're able to zone out the rest of the blue team and take a full Immortal health in the same position. So now they're looking down to push down this bot lane. There is still a fort with a wall available, and they're now all 5 back up, so Greymane's going to have a little bit of trouble trying to delete this Immortal shield on the outside. Samu gets thrown over, the taunt comes out, but he does have his cleanse and also the Boogie Wonderland. He gets it off. The Panda Pals come out and they are going to hunt down this Reyna. Penelope having to use her medallion as well to make it out of there. Snowbee is all by himself, and the aggression of Phobos is just endless. Snowbee trying to keep alive, but Breakraven not able to do it. Tamkai also getting focused here by the rest of the blue team. They're just chasing these people down endlessly. Karis, wow, the Immortal pushes in.
That is not the way that Complex were expecting that to go when they threw the Chen in. It looked like they had the CC chain totally nailed. They taunted the Chen, then they followed it up with the Tyrande stun, but it just wasn't quite enough to finish off the Chen, and that meant by the time the CC ended, Chen was able to get his ult off. Sammy pops the Storm Earth and Fire, went in horribly for Complex, and but now he may well get caught actually, as Li Ming finishes the job onto Chen, causing that stagger suicide.
Yep, that is the case. You know, sometimes when you're Chen, you're surviving for a long time, but with so much damage coming out here from Complex, it just means that your death is inevitable when you get caught out like that. Some brilliant ganks here coming out from Complex. Even though they've been winning these Immortals and some of the team fights, it's even kills on both sides, but the XP advantage is slightly over to Phobos.
Yes, it is. They still is neck and neck on kills, by the way. 8 kills to 8, 2 forts to 2 as well. So neck and neck on the structures, but the forts were capped a little bit earlier, I think, by Food for Phobias. So they've got a little bit of XP lead there, but also the XP lead has come from better Merc control and better soaking by Food for Phobia. So 4k lead, or 3k lead, let's say, on minions, and a little bit on passive, and a little bit on heroes. Adds up to a whole level lead now. But, crucially, Complex are level 16 in a few seconds, so it'll be neck and neck on the talents as they go into this next Immortal phase.
Yep, they are going to have to think about, where are we going to defend? What are we going to do? This Bruiser Camper still has 20 seconds for Food for Phobia, so they've got additional pressure in the top lane they don't have countered in the bot lane. Yeah, Complex positioning far forward, but so is White Tiger here with a full build going onto that Blink ability. Tamkai trying to get the throw, but is just getting deleted here. The Blessed Shield coming out, the Unstoppable with the Endurable being used, and the Torn on top of the Chen. Heroic sort of peeling away from his team. This Chen is sort of, the heroic value not quite getting exactly what they've got in the previous fights.
No, but that's because the Garrosh taunt was still up when he went in, because they saw that the throw had not worked on the Joanna. So they were like, let's try to punish in the usual way that we have, and let's hope, because with Joanna still alive, we can create something out of it. But of course, the taunt was then available to stop Chen from getting the value. Now, no Unstoppable left for Joanna if Garrosh can catch, but look at Jam on the Stukov controlling the Garrosh. Brilliant Stukov play here. This is Jam hot, and now they are going to secure first half of the Immortal on the side of Complex, as of course Food for Phobias had to clear that Bruiser camp very quickly.
Yep, Jam once again preserving her team incredibly well here on Battlefield of Eternity. In on Nexus Rumble, Tamkai peeling away his team, trying to make space for the race on the side of Complex, but once again gets the big taunt in here, but he's going to be stuck in there. But with the Indomitable, we're able to escape the silence, but still picked up. The red team get the Immortal, but at what cost here? As Breakweaven is also being chased here by the Chen. The rest of the blue team are just around the corner. Snowbee misses the Impale and has to pop his heroic as well. And Complex here with a very healthy shielded Immortal do actually have to walk away, and White Tiger tries to get the kill onto Jam, but he's sort of walking into a little bit of a death trap there if you go too far
I'm
forward.
not sure it's over. I think Complex won this fight because the Immortal is starting to push, and they want to just distract people and watch while people are straggling. Samu, he does not have his heroic available, and he has jumped in. Imperius wants to chase, but the silence from Stukov has controlled Reyna. Reyna's been absolutely punished here by Jam once again, but Snowbee's still looking to chase, still trying to create space for the Immortal. They're just trying to say, look, our Immortal can do work even if we're dead. But that they can't give away too many kills here, because those will be people dead for a long, long time, as Li Ming and Tyron are the only ones left standing right now, although Garrosh is on his way.
Yeah, Samu with a little notable play there of just staying in the bush, and that just blocked the orb from the onto the Tassadar, which could have been deathly for the Tassadar, but Chen, being the big boy that he is, able to take it on the chin. This Immortal almost gets that keep, so that strategy of, well, Zerg rushing the enemy team, some would say, almost paid off here for Complex.
It almost did, but there's a big difference between almost and payoff. Like, because crucially, you know, I mean, absolutely, they were trying to, everything they were committing there, all those resources, was an attempt to allow that Immortal to take the keep, and it didn't work in the end, and they still lost heroes. That's turned into a big XP deficit now for them, with that Immortal having finally been taken. They've got the XP back, so it's now like a level and a half, more or less, for Food for Phobias, who are looking a lot closer to level 20 as the XP clock is ticking.
Yeah, and that's going to prove so vital as we go into this next Immortal phase. There'll be a little bit of time, but Food for Phobias will probably comfortably have 20 at that point, whereas Complex may be lagging behind a little bit. So Complex are maybe setting up a surprise gank. They have a lot of damage. They have a lot of CC as well, and when they find Sonny, they usually get her down, but not able to get this time. But they're pushing on this Bruiser camp. Food for Phobias know that they have level 20. They possibly have to give up this Bruiser camp if they're not feeling confident. Sonic positioning forward and forward. Tamkay has the ability to throw. Samu plays, goes in on the back onto Penelope, gets stunned by Snowbee as well. Has to pop the heroic. They're going for the chase. They don't have level 20 just yet. The root comes out onto Penelope. They're pushing in further and further, but unable to chase any further. They lose the camp, but they don't get any kills after popping some heroic abilities and a couple of medallions.
Yeah, but that looked like almost certain death for Samu. I'm so sure that Samu Chen was going to die, but again and again he proves me wrong. brilliant offlane player here, Samu plays, and the fact that he got his heroic off and survived allowed them to threaten, to push them away. But as you say, they didn't get any kills and they didn't get the camp.
Yep. The red team now here with the superior race. Once again, even though they're 2 levels behind, that's 8% less damage they have. And Hat gets stunned here. The beautiful here from White Tiger, just the other side of the wall, but Sourplace goes to interrupt him. But with the shield from the level 16 talent.
How
sustaining.
How is White Tiger alive here? It's as you say, it's the diamond skin at level 16, absolutely saving White Tiger with the synergy with, of course, all the other E-talents that he's taken. They're taking this fight 18 versus 20 because look how low Hat is. If the White Tiger finds Hat on the flank, it might just be a kill. Of course, Garrosh trying to create the space, trying to create the distraction, but White Tiger can't quite find the line. Greymane sensibly hiding the pack, really well played positionally by Probius there to just protect the weakest, like a pack of wild animals protecting the injured one, just walking around. And White Tiger, the evil predator hunting for them, was denied the kill. That means, of course, it's still 18 for 20. Chen looking to go in, doesn't have his heroic for 25, so can't be as aggressive as he has previously. They're starting to chase, but for now, it will just create space. But Li Ming wants to finish off that Immortal so much. But Garrosh giving his life potentially for Li Ming to get this. Garrosh has been picked off, so Li Ming had better get this Immortal. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster for the red team. Samu starts to chase in. He has his Storm Earth and Fire in 5 more seconds.
Yep, and the blue team just chasing, zoning them out, but they do not lose the Immortal. They have to defend it once again. It's going to be pushing in on this bot lane, which has 1 tower available, so it's going to do a decent amount of damage. But with Garrosh being dead, I think Greymane will be more than happy to chunk away at it as soon as it spawns.
Absolutely, which is why the red team complex are going straight for that top keep. Chen knows what's happening. He's up there trying to zone, but he's got to be careful. He does have his heroics, but he may get jumped on by Imperius, by Tehran. We've seen the CC chain that they've got, but Chen does have the unstoppable at level 20 now with his fortifying brew upgrade. But I think he's happy to let that keep go and keep his life for now.
Yeah, once again, Complex in control of the map here, but they're slowly losing more and more team fights, as Fifth Progress just seem to have a little bit extra control, especially now with that level 20 upgrade for that Blessed Shield on Johanna. But Complex, undeterred, is just ready to take them out, ready to take the siege camps and try and get towards level 20 as they managed to take that Immortal without level 20.
I mean, it's miraculous the things they've done. Excuse me, Garrosh, you've got to be careful here. This is a lovely invade, Tehran. Are you opposition? The Blessed Shield misses. That's huge from Breakraven to turn around at the last second. Juke that Blessed Shield, because if that hits, that could have been game over, Transparent. And now they are going to spill themselves this camp. Yes, but not the end of the world for Complex. They are going to get themselves level 20 pretty soon. And of course, Blessed Shield is now down.
Yeah, and White Tiger's just been playing so aggressive on this Li Ming, so level 20 is going to be endlessly helpful for them. As we move into this late stage of this game on Battlefield of Eternity, they do need to maybe think about cleaning out this top camp. It's not got much health. They've got some catapults in there. It'll be fine. So Complex now here, ready to come down here. The Owl misses, not interrupting anyone's rotation, but Snowby able to pick out the the Johanna with that information. The root comes out here from Jam onto Snowby, but he's pushing further and further forward as this Jam gets locked down by the Snowbee as well, and White Tiger's putting out as much damage as possible, and Sonny's going to go down. This is going to be a great kill for Complex as they try and get the no reset here on Jam as well. But Tamk falling lower and lower. Chen has yet to pop his heroic as well. He's got stunned, he's got throwed and taunted, and he goes down as well. That's 2 kills for nothing right now for Complex, and they're looking to push forward. Hat gets done once again as well. He's looking to try and finish off his Imperius and does get it, but he is cleaned up quickly by this Li Ming. Sidonian not able to keep the Twilight Archon alive here. This is the last defense perhaps for Fuphrobius, so they have camp on the top keep as well as the rest of Complex here on the bot keep, uncertain quite how to pressure this core.
They surely have to give that bot keep. White Tiger goes very looking to try and make a flank play on the core there. Nice little juke. But and look at, I mean, the Ether Walker value that we're seeing from White Tiger, by the way, just constantly all over the map. It's like watching, a Genji or a Tracer or something. So mobile, White Tiger with this full E-build Li Ming doing really nicely. But yes, what a fight there from Complex, absolutely controlling it. And it was a lot down to Snowby on the Imperius, who was so impactful in game number 1 in this series, but of course they couldn't quite close out. But now Snowby on the Imperius looking so devastating, so much of a threat that is sucking resources, and that leaves Chen exposed to the rest of the members, and of course White Tiger on that Li Ming. So terrifying.
Yeah, and Complex are just going to quickly take this Immortal, which is going to push down this bot lane, which is a damage keep, and they've got 5 members available. They've not had a 5-member push in quite some time, Cass.
Previous have to fight this right now. They can't wait for this Immortal to get to the core. They have to take this fight here in the middle of no man's land before the Immortal can even spawn. But look, Complex deciding so carefully. Look, this is brilliant decision making by both of these teams. But Complex looking in control. They're saying no, we're not going to allow the fight. Previously, we forced the fight. Now they're thinking. Now the Immortal is marching. Now Garrosh goes in to create the space, but gets punished maybe. Look at this damage that comes out onto the Garrosh. He's been absolutely deleted, and that's a Garrosh, by the way. But Greymane and Tassadar absolutely melded him. Chen also now going to start threatening onto Li Ming. That's crucially going to give the space for Greymane to start getting some work done on this Immortal. It is marching on the keep. It's cutting through the keep pretty quickly. The keep is down to a 3rd HP, and it's going to be falling very soon.
Yep, and this is a healthy Immortal, but I think it's going to be defended. Without the Garrosh, they're still trying to position, trying to look for those stuns. They've got such a good combination with the full stacks available now on Tirana with the Shooting Star on level 20 as well. It's such a good combo to get those CC trains to really control your enemies and get those blow-ups with the Li Ming, Reyna. 9% done to Fufophobia core after many of these assaults have just been from the Immortals.
I can't believe that this game is still going. 25 minutes in, by the way. Absolutely incredible performance from both teams. Li Ming's got to be careful here because there's a Greymane and a Chen sniffing at her heels. Yes, she's got a lot of that mobility with the teleport build. Got to be careful though. And of course, crucially, at this point in the game, 25 minutes in, a death can be gained because you're dead for so long, and it's so much about who is first to win a team fight, and that will allow basically either team to push core. Yes, the 2 keep advantage is definitely in favor of Complex, and that's why we see, by the way, the blue team now looking to invade this Bruiser camp. Imperius is going to sniff this out in a few seconds. Got to be careful though, because of course his team is not quite all there at the moment.
But the red team have seen it with the Owl being hit, but they're not quite ready yet. Snowy going in once again to lance Chen, but not successful. So much pressure on Fufophobia core. The red team able to clean out these camps so easily as they know the space is available. But
26 minutes in, and there's pressure on both teams, but really it's obviously the lane pressure is ultimately going to be pushing against Fufophobia. They've got to be so confident in their decision making now and everything that happens, because the moment they take their eye off the core, catapults will be rolling in. 26-minute catapults, by the way, which do a lot of damage. Imperius gets scouted out by the Oracle. Joanna steps up, has the blessed shield available. Li Ming is really teleporting. Lovely wave of force to disengage.
Yeah, that level 20 upgrade just putting a little bit extra distance between her and danger, but it's now on a 20-second cooldown. Just got to be careful. Looking for this engage here on the side of Sardonian, but the stun comes out onto the Garrosh once again, and he goes down. Beautiful kill here for Fufophobia, and they've got a little bit of an opportunity here to get some race. Chen pops the Earthstorm, Wind and Fire, maybe looking to try and get a kill. Still has all abilities available, putting out the solid DPS here on to this Immortal phase, and it pops the first phase. Earthstorm, Wind and Fire is now fully used up.
I wonder if they're going to be able to get this Chen kill here. They go in, there's the wave of 4 to try and knock him back. He doesn't have his heroic available, but he's starting to chase the Tyrant. Tyrant's under so much pressure, but Imperius has to block his shield ultimately. This is where they're going to want to flirt with the enemy, kind of create some space, but they can't commit hard because, of course, they are 4v5, but they know that Greymane is racing. Can they use the fact that Greymane is racing to try and get a kill, maybe with that Imperius? Maybe with that Li Ming. Chen doesn't have his ult. There's the lockdown. He presses his stagger, jumps in. He has his D available. Maybe there's the wave of force. Is it enough? The unstoppable's there. Chen has been taken out.
Yeah, and we've seen Complex take these fights when they're down and out, when they've not got the level 20, and they know that they've got the time because the clock is ticking for Fufophobia. There is almost 6 catapults on this core. Well, 5 catapults indeed, and it looks like Complex are going to go there. 80% are now, 70% on the core. Snowy has gone straight there, and Penelope is soon to follow up as well. And with Reyna on that core, it could be all over as these 2 catapults are focusing super hard. 20% now on the core, and red team looking to do an all-in play as Snowy goes and attacks the core, and Penelope as well. GG Complex K, game number 2, evening up the series 1-1 in the next Rumble Upper Series.
Beautiful decision making here. Beautiful decision making by Complex. Everything about the way they've played this game is kind of almost counterintuitive, but it's like a 300 IQ play because the way they've lost fights but secured the Immortal, and by pressuring constantly 4v5. How many teams would you see who lose a player like they've often lost Garrosh at the start of these fights, and then they say, right, we've lost a player, we're going to sit in our base safe as houses. But Complex said, no, we know what our strengths are, what our trumps are in this game. It is our Immortal race. It's our structural advantage that we've got with that Immortal race time and time again. It's the distraction plays that we can make, and ultimately they don't care. They don't care that they've lost a hero sometimes in those fights. They've taken the positional advantage. They've secured themselves ganks, even 4v5, and that's allowed them here to secure themselves to win with a beautiful backdoor call.
Yeah, it was almost like watching Sky Temple with the way the Complex played it, just sort of playing in the middle of the map and letting the objective do the pushing. And, they did lose time and time again, heroes and heroes, but with a good call at the end, you're absolutely right, they managed to take it out. Oh, beautiful play here. Penelope's just whispered to me that she doesn't often play Reyna, and trying to play in that match was so tense as they knew
that must
that
have
they
been
were...
a horrible game to play Reyna in because Chen was on her all the time. By the way, Samuel on the Chen, absolutely dominant, looked so unkillable for most of the game, but and those little moments where not everything clicked together, or when the Chen heroic was on cooldown, that's when we saw the punishment. That's when we saw the decision making from Complex really shine. But ultimately, MVP has to be Li Ming, played by White Tiger here, with 88,000 damage and 11 kills out of 12 for their team, and 0 deaths.
Yeah, I mean, it was such an aggressive build, and going on that sort of style of play, it's really quite unusual. Don't try this at home, folks. If you're not prepared to know exactly what to do and exactly how to get out of all those situations, this White Tiger build is definitely for people who know how to play. Yeah, it's a phenomenal build if you know what to do. We see Imperius coming out with the full Q build as well. And, it's just a case of what can you do, how can you go through these maps, and yeah, even at a deficit of XP and levels, Complex still managed to take the win. See the maps coming in here, they've had a couple of picks picked both by Complex and 1-1 each right now. It's proving to be quite some game, especially with both teams taking one apiece right now. Futharobia taking game number 1 on Infernal Shrines, and BOE being taken by Complex. These teams have to see what can they do here. Futharobia have opted for first pick, so this map pick will be going over to Complex. Complex having a big think about it. What would they go for? Obviously, we've had some maps banned down. If I just run you through the map bans once again, that was Cursed Hollow and Dragonshire banned out by Complex, whereas Tomb of the Spider Queen and Volskaya Foundry, Futharobia least favourite map, being banned out by them. I wouldn't expect to see Futharobia pick Volskaya Foundry anytime soon. But what are Complex going to look for? What are they really on about?
Well, I mean, it's tough to know what they're going to play. I mean, there are, there's a few different ideas, but I mean, who was it? It was Complex who picked BOE, wasn't it?
Yeah, all maps will be picked by Complex in this series.
Yeah, so I mean that was a map where they showed total understanding of everything of the map, their draft, everything. So if they've got other maps like that in their pocket, then maybe that's the time to whip them out. It looks like they're going to go to Tomb of the Spider Queen in just a couple of minutes. Whilst we get set up for that, I'll just remind everybody there is a open community Heroes Lounge feedback session discussion thing on this coming Thursday, the 29th of October. And what you'll be able to do there is pose questions to the Heroes Lounge management staff and some of the experts to see, to ask, for what your thoughts are, what their thoughts are on how Heroes Lounge is run, that sort of stuff. And if you want to get involved with that, there's a sign up form thing in the announcements channel in our Discord. And if you're not in the Heroes Lounge Discord, why not type !Discord and you'll get a link and you can come and say hi. Transparent.
Yes, yeah, you and I will both be there. We'll both be enjoying ourselves. But for now, we have the Nexus Rumble, our upper series, Complex versus Foophophrobius. And if you see any superb clips, please be free to clip them and put them in our Clip Lounge channel on our Discord as well. This has been such a fantastic series so far, and both games have been nail-biters. I don't quite know what to expect on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I'm sure we'll see Tassadar again from Sidonian. He seems to really like that hero. But what else could we possibly see? You know, the Kel'Thas could come out. It could be something like that. Or maybe we'll just get something super juicy. Like, what could we have? Maybe Diva, maybe Zarya, maybe Junkrat. I don't know. These heroes are really... could be anything. I just want to see something exciting, Karas. Please, let me see something exciting.
Well, well, I think we've already seen many exciting things, and they've been fairly vanilla drafts. If you know, I don't think we were surprised that much by anything in the drafts that we've seen so far today. Maybe the Zarya was the most kind of surprising thing, and yet the games, because of the execution of these teams, have been absolutely incredible, like incredible series. As you pointed out, Transparent, if anyone's clipped some of these moments, definitely post them in the Clip Lounge channel in the Heroes Lounge Discord. But it's been in two incredible series, but this one in particular, I don't think we need to see a spicy draft to see a spicy game. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, yeah, they're playing top quality. Obviously, these two teams faced off each other earlier in the week, and Complex just took it 2-1. Once again, we're here in a 1-1 series. Could go either way. It really could, Karas, and such a nail-biter of a game too. With Complex just using the Immortal as an excess, I don't think they're going to be able to do that here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. The objective does get a lot of value done, but can also be easily defended if the draft is done correctly for Foophophrobius.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of draft factors here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Obviously, you need wave clear, both for kind of having that edge on the rotations, and that allows you to control camps, but also when eventually your opponent gets a web weaver phase, which they will eventually, you need to be able to clear it fast and without risking too much of your life to do it. So you don't want like a hard melee wave clear, because you can then get locked out. So there's a lot of different factors in this map. Of course, it is a small map, so we won't see kind of focus on globals that we've seen in some of the other maps today. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Brightwing, because she's not okay. She has global value, but it's the fact that being constantly fighting in minion waves resets that phase shift, and that's what Brightwing needs. Keep that Z up, keep that ancestral healing available, as I would say. So I think we're almost ready to go into game number 2. Sorry, no, game number 3. So draft number 3 is what I mean, but draft number 3 in this best of 3 series.
Yep, and here we go. Tomb of the Spider Queen. Yeah, we see such a good map, this one. I'm really a big fan. Some people don't like it, but I love it. You see the rotations come out super spicy, and just something like that. Hat was a big one for rotating to the mid lane very early on in this map, but he's been playing damage recently, and with Samuel on the off lane, I wonder if they're in the same wavelength, as he is a substitute.
Yeah, I think if having a substitute in the off lane is probably easier than having one in the 4, because it's you're spending less time together. The offlaner tends to be a bit more distant anyway, so it doesn't have to work on quite the same tempo as the four-person rotation you have there. ETC gets banned. I mean, is this just going to be a nana ban, a repeat of the banana that we've seen in games 1 and 2? No, it's a Chromie ban against Penelope.
Yeah, I think they know that probably Anna will be banned out against them. If not, they'll pick it. Tomb of the Spider Queen can be a bit of a safer map. You can't get dived on as much if you still have structures available. Not like BOE or Infernal Shrines, which there are many opportunities to gank on the back. But we see Johanna being the first pick, and Anna is now left open. This could be something disastrous if there's going to be a cheeky Anna and a mage pickup. But of course, we've seen Hat play Zeratul, so it's kind of baiting almost.
I think it might be a bait even. Yeah, like then you see the Zeratul get slammed in. But like, and maybe you get Zeratul and Brightwing together. But although you don't need to slam the Brightwing for the same reasons that you did in game 1, where they picked it to prevent it being counterpicked. Look, there's the Jane Anna, exactly as you talked about. So they're going to play what they know. Penelope on mage, traditional. You get that nano boost in from Breakraven's Anna, bang. That could be devastating. But as you say, you're leaving open that Zeratul from Hat. Now, is he going to pick it up now, or is he going to risk leaving it after the ban phase? Because I don't think, if I'm Complex, I'm letting that Zeratul through. So arguably, he has to pick it up now.
Yeah, and we see Malfurion being that support pickup with the Blaze on the other side of the offlane. That's a good offlane to have on this map. You need to have some sort of wave clear. It can't be too sort of weak in that department, because if there's a big wave comes and you have to send a DPS to go clear that wave, it just means you're so much weaker if suddenly a team fight breaks up. So here we go, Tomb of the Spider Queen, the ban's coming out. We see the Zeratul, that dive being picked, being banned out here.
By the way, Blaze, I mean, obviously Zeratul is a real menace to Anna and Jaina, but Blaze is too, because he's a very tanky dive here and will cause a nuisance. If he can stick through Anna, she will get absolutely punished. But also he's going to get that minus 50% spell power talent at level 13. Throw that on Jaina when she's nano boosted. That's pretty unpleasant for her to deal with. Takes a lot of the edge off that wombo combo that they've got.
How else do you deal with this combination? How do you deal with the Anna? Anna is usually the big linchpin in some combinations like this.
Kerrigan, perhaps,
Well, unfortunately, Kerrigan is banned. We keep thinking
banned
about
in
Kerrigan.
Heroes Lounge at the moment, which I obviously knew when I said it, question mark.
We see the Yrel being picked up here by the Snowbee, so that sort of has that offlane presence for Complex, but they're still waiting on the tank. Maybe they're thinking, should we pop in a cheeky Anubarak or something like that?
Maybe even a cheeky Diablo, because so I really like the Tychus against the Blaze. But I was going to say one thing is you don't want to end up with a Tychus against you if you're going for Diablo or something like that. So that's maybe another reason they picked that up, as well as you said, as we saw in game number 1 to punish that Blaze. Maiev, that's nice. With a Mephisto on top, we might see a Durance of Hate in the middle of a tether. That could be absolutely devastating. And by the way, the newly buffed Durance of Hate level 20 is absolutely disgusting, where it silences them for about 40 years, as well as rooting them. So that's Diablo was banned, as the chat rightly points out.
Yeah, there are so many good opportunities, but we see Garrosh being picked up here. That Garrosh being sort of blown up quite quickly in game number 2, but still getting a lot of essential picks for them to be able to get the objective, which, with a Jaina is pretty impactful for sure. We have the Maiev and the Mephisto, got some things cut out for them, but if Garrosh can walk forward while Mephisto is in that shade form, to where the Mephisto is going to return, a nice quick kill can be super duper good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors here for both teams. You've got to be afraid of that Maiev Mephisto combination though, because it turns into Maiev tether, Malfruits, Mephisto damage with the Durance, with the shade. You could just melt a whole team like that before you have a chance to press nano boost and drop that Jaina combo. And there's also a fair amount of pressure on the Garrosh, but of course it all comes down to execution, as we'll see as we go into game number 3.
Yep, here we are, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Complex, the challengers. They took game number 2 in some unusual circumstances, but here they are. Game number 3 are trying to take against our champions, Fufophobius, Complex, with White Tiger on Jaina, Penelope on Tychus, Tamke on Garrosh, Breakraven on Anna, and Snowbee on Yrel.
And they are going up against the current champions. Make some noise in the chat for Food for Frobius with Samu Plays on the Blaze, Sidonian on Mephisto, Sunny on Joanna, Hat on Maiev, and Jam on Malfurion.
Yep, trying to keep some people alive. We see new habits once again taken on Blaze, trying to just keep that unstoppable going. And we see the sleep darts coming out from Breakraven already trying to make some sort of engage here for Complex, but with a pull and a root, that means there's a medallion, early game medallion here for Snowbee.
Blaze gets thrown in and locked down. He presses his D, so he's lived a very long time. But the pure body blocking was trying to punish him. But I mean, Blaze has lived. That's one of the advantages of having 40 armor, of course, on demand. So nicely played there from Samu Plays to live. I was thought for sure he's going to die because he doesn't have, of course, that bunker yet. And of course, if they try that post 10, Blaze is just going to press bunker, hide in there for as long as is necessary to get his stun back, his charge back, to get away from there. And of course, his team will be punished. His opponents will be punished in the meantime.
Yep, we do see now the rotations just coming out. Will one of these teams rotate down to the siege camp to maybe think about what they're going to do? Maybe looking to take out a little bit of an early advantage on these rotations.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall the rotation pressure should be in favor of Food for Frobius, but it's whether Garrus can control the positioning and threaten any of the non-Johanna heroes in their rotation. But otherwise, it's a bit more difficult for Jaina and Tigers to clear those waves and step up, of course, with the threat of Maiev always jumping on them.
We see the camp being taken here by Complex. They've gone for the sort of early camp at the 20 gem mark rather than sort of leaving it any later, and Hat has gone down to the siege camp, but Snowbee's trying to keep eyes on it. Obviously Samu's keeping eyes on Snowbee, so Hat sort of stealthy, but you know, with people missing on the map, Complex either
that was genius. I have to say that was genius from both teams. Like Snowbee suspecting that somebody's going towards camp, and Samu was watching Snowbee, so knows what Snowbee knows, and therefore Hat was just kind of waiting in the wings. Now Snowbee knows won't be in time though to contest that camp, so just brilliant mind games from both of these teams. You love to see kind of this top level play from Division 2 teams here.
Yeah, and we see the gems starting to be turned in, but with only 5 gems on Garrosh, that was all they could get turned in while this camp pushes in the middle. This is all the space to go, but White Tiger is super aggressive once again. He doesn't have Blink like he did with Li Ming, but is able to get out as the healing comes out from Blake Raven.
So one of the factors that's going to be so crucial in this game is how quickly can White Tiger get that ice block up and running. Because we saw there White Tiger use a medallion just to avoid getting tethered in by Maiev. Well, now that's on a 5-minute cooldown. And of course, she doesn't have that next time. Oh, Hat though gets thrown and locked down, does manage to get away. But Garrus gets rooted in response. We'll be able to put a bit of pressure on the Joanna. What I was saying about the Jaina is, once the ice block's up and running, that's going to be White Tiger's response to that. Of course, that's a long way away, being only 1,400, 10% of the way to that quest.
Yeah, we see now both teams just almost available with the gem turn in. No kills yet in this game. Tamkai peeling away Sidonian from cleaning the wave. Hat just keeping the rotations here, but White Tiger's maybe looking for the play onto Samu as Samu's trying to get the turn in, but Snowbee just keeping eyes on him as well. But in the top lane, the rest of the blue team trying to put pressure, just making space for these turn-ins is going to be crucial for Frobius.
Yeah, the positional play in this, oh, that's nice onto Hat. I mean, they're not in any danger of killing Hat, but every time they throw somebody in, oh, maybe they're going to go for Joanna. You see the pings coming out. The Hanskin's about to end. There's the stun from Tamkay. No throw available for Sunny just yet. But Sunny is still a bunch of damage. And what we're saying is, one of the reasons that Garrus keeps throwing people in, even though they can escape, is they allow Jaina to just stack on them for free. You know, she just drops the combo, bang. That gives a bit more of that ice block quest progress, up to 2.2k now so far, and that's going to be so important, as we said, as we go into the later game in preventing Maiev from absolutely tearing that team apart.
Yeah, level 7's now being picked up. This is going to be good for Anna as she now gets that Night Terrace to be able to increase the sort of blow-up damage that maybe they're trying to look for in the percentage damage. We see a little bit of a tussle going on in the bot turn-in. Samu Play still trying to get those turn-ins. So we've seen turn-ins coming in from Snowbee, upping the gem count to 21 on the side of Complex, as they're winning this turn-in race, but of course it can quickly turn around if any kills happen to either team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mean, it's amazing that it's still 0-0 because both teams are putting pressure. Hat goes in with a tether onto Tychus, but look, Break Raven with the Ana already there with a healing. And this is the first game that Ana hasn't been banned, and already Break Raven getting value on it. So really nice play so far. White Tiger getting a bit hurt by these minions and by the constant Fan of Knives reset from Hat, who, by the way, is currently running at 8.8k hero damage.
Yep, these teams just positioning around. The turn-ins coming in this brief opportunity, but Penelope does get interrupted by Hat right now. Only 10 gems away. Snowby keeping interruptions here on the bot side all by themselves as the blue team dance around the red team at the top. Penelope looking forward aggressively on to the Tychus, trying to just put any damage possible on the blue team.
Tychus really trying to create some space. Garrosh has to use the Indomitable again to get away from that Maiev tether. Tamk takes a lot of poke every time they come in. Now that's a throw onto Maiev, but of course will walk away. But now Gina wasn't able to put any damage combo. Now hang on, because Lazer is going to come in here and create space as well. From the side, there's a route onto Irel. Oh, lovely unstoppable, gets Snowby out to safety. But is it to safety? Because the tether comes in from Maiev, pulls Garrosh and Irel back in, and they might both be dead. Garrosh throws Sidonian in, but he has the shade. So he was on the shade, so that's actually just throwing the shade in, and Sidonian come back to safety. Gina, of course, gets picked off on the flank.
Yeah, beautiful route there by Jam on that Malfurion, and Jam trying to turn in the gems. This is the opportunity that FIFA was looking for, looking down to get Tamkai, and he goes down as well. But Tychus got the pain in the bot. Penelope just sneaking it in, sort of the distraction play from Garrosh.
Is this a repeat of the Battlefield game? Where they've all died, but they've got the objective. Hang on, but this is a very different objective from Battlefield of Eternity, because of course this will de-push a lot of these lanes, and it will melt all the soak that Complex want to get if they're not alive to go and push with those Web Weavers. So you don't want to be getting a Web Weaver phase when you're all dead. Now in comes the Durant of Hate, doesn't catch onto Ana, but the Shade's there to do the finishing job. But maybe Mephisto is out of position here. Yes, he is. So it's 1-for-1. The Ana down for the Mephisto.
And a few bits of gem lost here for Phrobius, as well as a decent amount of their clear. Obviously, Maiev has a little bit of clear, but without any sort of resets, it's kind of hard to do so. And we see the slows coming out here from Snowby, the snow on Jam as well, and she gets picked up, interrupting the Twilight Dream, and that's a beautiful pickup here for Complex. Once again, getting the objective, getting the kills, and Sam is trying to peel for people, but it's just putting them in danger as well. The bunker now coming out, maybe to try and save, but Tamkai's just looking forward and forward. The unstoppable popping. Beautiful stuff here. Hat trying to get the resets. He's got 45 gems. He needs to get out of there. 300 HP, but he gets killed. That's going to be huge. If Samu can get those, is great. But Sidonian not feeling like brave enough to get there. And that's a full gem reset here on the side of Phrobius.
Everything about how Complex have played that is absolutely juicy. As soon as they got that Mephisto kill, they knew what their objective was, and it was to stop the rest of the members of Food for Phrobius from clearing those Web Weavers. As you mentioned, Transparent, the Mephisto is the main bulk of the Web Weaver clear for Food for Phrobius, and with him dead, they just took that opportunity to step up, create some space with the Garrosh, because as we know, that's what Garrosh is good at doing, and that allowed them to secure some more kills, and they just kind of snowballed it from there.
Yeah, and now blue team have got to be thinking, right, we've got to try and get back into this game. We've just lost a whole chunk of our gems, almost 45 gems, if not 50 at that point. They had a decent amount turned in beforehand, but losing that many is disheartening here on Tomb of the Spider Queen, especially as they now have to try and keep the momentum. They've lost mid-fort, they've lost some outer structures, and trying to keep them there with the Taunter here on Hat, putting a lot of damage coming out. See Garrosh trying to walk forward, maybe trying to get another kill on Hat with Penelope in the Odin, putting out more and more damage. The Twilight Dream does stop the full engage, and Shawnee on the Johanna now walking away is going to get slowed by this water elementals. That's so annoying, and it does indeed fall. And Snowby just able to get the kill onto Jam as well, but we see Sidonian now putting in with the damage, and Urel is taken out instead.
Malph's hiding in the bunker for as long as he can, actually throwing out a lot of fire onto Garrosh from the bunker. And actually Garrosh is getting punished by that bunker fire, gets punished in the end. Garrosh goes down, and in comes Blaze with the stun. Is this the beginning of the turnaround? Anna's completely on her own. She knows she's dead. Goes to just create space to allow Gina to run away and get some stacks, and Gina has got the Ice Block quest done, crucially.
Yeah, and we now see that, White Tiger falling down to 50 HP, 19 gems. That could have been incredible stuff for Food for Phrobius if they picked up that kill. And they've got some Web Weaver phase in, and from those kills, they actually picked up a number of gems as well, which is going to be good in getting them back in this game.
Yeah, and it looks like such a good fight for Complex to start with because they got the good engage. I have to say the bunker was absolutely crucial in saving Malfurion. I thought Malfurion was dead for sure, but he just hid in the but Jam just hid in the bunker for about 12 minutes, while Garrosh was just getting burned by that bunker damage. You know, it does more damage than you expect, particularly if there's two people in there firing it.
Yeah.
And that's great bunker play from Fufophrobius.
Yeah, Jam in that bunker since the draft, dodging out on all the damage. But they've got a good opportunity now to equalize these forts, to make their move. As I think it's a little bit of the history between the two teams coming out here, making these aggressive plays just seem a little bit more juicy as they want to prove to each other that they are the best team here in the Nexus Rumble. Tamkai using Indomitable to be able to walk away the sleep here on top of Hat. Jaina trying to get these juicy flanks. Jam scouting it out with the Moonlight.
So can we just talk a little bit about Jaina build for a second, assuming there isn't going to be any more fight, because everything about the way Jaina's built this hero is to say, I want to survive and I want to control Maiev. And what we're going to see at level 16, I very strongly suspect, is the roots on Cone of Cold, and that will allow Jaina to keep throwing out Cone of Cold to root Maiev, to root Mephisto as well, and Blaze if they're engaging on it. And of course, all the while giving that shield to Jaina and keeping the Jaina alive. Here's the nano boost.
Yeah, the nano boost has come out, it's worn out already, but Hat has gone in, he's slapped, he's taunted while the water's cage is down, and that's going to be crucial. But with the Twilight Dream following up on two members, that's incredible damage here. A great fight for Fufophrobius, as now Sidonian on the Mephisto following up, trying to zone away the rest of Complex.
White Tiger went to pay during the fight because they wanted to ensure that those 25 gems got in. I'm not sure. I mean, I understand the ideology there because you want to make sure you get paid. In fact, they may be able to get a punishing kill onto Blaze, but no. In comes the Duke of Wellington though to start punishing Joanna. Sunny can't step up too much because that Wellington is starting to do some serious damage. Blaze comes in from the side, doesn't quite catch the stun, and that makes Blaze a little bit vulnerable. Got to be careful. Doesn't have D available either. Has to pop the bunker to stay alive. In comes Zirel trying to jump onto Anna, but she hides the bunker as well. Great bunker play by Fufophrobius. And there's the tether to interrupt the Zirel jump, and there's the roots, but she has the absorb available. Now, what can Zirel do at the end of this absorb? Jump over the wall and get out, possibly to safety. Although Hath is there waiting to look for a tether, but Tychus is waiting in the wings. And in the meantime, there's been a taunt onto Blaze, who's been punished, drops 15 gems, but Sunny will pick them up. Garrosh tries the body blocks.
Yeah, the rest of Complex now back alive, and they're chasing down the team without a 16 talent. They are more than confident with the Jaina slowing people down. The Unstoppable now popped out with a Fanaticism from level 16, able to give them a little bit of space, but this has allowed Complex to get another turn in with Urel paying all her gems. Oh, Complex coming out back here strong after an instant resurrect to walk to the fight.
There's so much complex decision making in both senses of the term that's gone on in this whole series. Like the amount of thinking they're doing about the different fights that are going on at the same time and about the different advantages that the teams have. You see that Irel got completely isolated and then got punished and she uses her absorb. So you may think, well, then Irel's under pressure, but because of the positioning that Blaze did, they then were able to punish Blaze. Really good play here. In comes the Durance, catches onto Tychus, beautifully aimed there from Sidonian, but they weren't able to follow up with any damage. It will scare Penelope off for now, and that will allow them to clear this bottom web weaver pretty much for free. But of course, the top one is still very healthy, pushing on that fort.
Yeah, Breakraven has gone for the Purifying Darts over the Smelling Salts, so looking to sort of release those roots from Malfurion and Mephisto, and a bit of slows from Johanna rather than cleansing the stuns from the Blessed Shield or the Blaze. Yeah,
I think that's, as you say, because of that Malfurion roots, and of course the Durance, don't forget, because that Durance at level 20 is going to be nasty as well. Now, Blaze gets knocked back. And he is rooted back. There you go, there's that roots from Jaina that we were talking about. There's a tether into the Warden's cage. Can they get their wombo combo off? They don't have the Durance available just now, but income for damage. Puts a lot of damage to Darish. They're looking for Jaina as well. She gets blown up. They're looking to chase now. Looking on Diana. She's been slowed by the oil slick. But can she get away? Oh, lovely medallion! Breakraven's still alive, but in comes a tether from Maya. Brings back 3 of them. There's the follow-up damage. But the taunt from Garrosh might just save Anna for a few more seconds. Might just save Irel, but not for very long. And it's 3 kills for nothing in favor of Fufophrobius.
That is exactly what they needed, Karis. This game was just going in the favor of Complex and in every sort of turn. But another overstep from Fufophrobius just means the another overstep from Complex means that Fufophrobius can now take a boss play and look to get a turn in. Well, it's only many 10 gems available on the side of Complex, and the waves are so far pushed that they can't really do anything either. This is great play here for Fufophobius.
It is absolutely brilliant from them. I mean, it's exactly, as you say, everything that they needed. Now, they're a level ahead. They're 1.5 levels away from level 20, and that's the point at which they'll become really terrifying. But it's not level 20 yet, and there is still a window of opportunity for Complex to fight them before then. Of course, the Fufophobius picking up their web weavers, picking up the boss. Those are both going to be marching on that top lane. I don't think the mid lane is going to be too much pressure for Complex. So Complex immediately want to get started on clearing that boss, because that keep is going to be the tender point in this whole defense.
Yeah, Fufophobius will be soon marching towards this top lane. The boss is getting put a lot of damage on. Perhaps Fufophobius could have held on for a little bit longer, but the wave's now coming. They've got a very unhealthy catapult here to follow up as well. But Maiev is looking for these warding cages. She's gone in right now. The stun's coming out from the boss lane. The beautiful Dunes of Fate quickly cleansed by the Ana, but now with the Nana boost here, the Garrosh is dead, but so Blaze is such on low HP. This bunker needs to just be focused down by Penelope and White Tiger, but Samu's going to get away with just 200 HP. Sidonia comes in with a Mephisto. So much damage coming in. Happy with a big pull. The Roots maybe here to follow up with the Warden's Cage. Yep, it catches onto the Ural. She's got no Ardent Defender, not for another 10 seconds just yet, and the stun is going to mean that she falls. Beautiful play here from Fufophobius now with a very unhealthy boss and web weaver phase. They may look to try and end the game here, Karis.
Yes, because they got themselves level 20 as well. But of course, Jaina is still alive. She'll be able to clear the web weaver and boss pretty quickly. But there's a beautiful sleep onto Maiev. Stops Maiev from jumping onto Jaina. But it's all about what can these heroes do onto core. Jaina just trying to create space, create time, hides in the ice block. Just needs a few more seconds for her team. Garrosh is back in 5 seconds. A lovely kill onto Maiev from Typhus and Ana, creating space. Look at all the work done by White Tiger on this Jaina. Yes, she's gone down eventually, but they bought time for Garrosh to respawn. Now it's still a 2v4 though. They've still got to defend this core. And by the way, there's still a massive wave pushing in the mid lane once this keep goes down. Tigers get zoned by Joanna. Garrosh chasing, tries to zone people away from the core. Buying time is the name of the game, and they're doing that excellently transparent.
Yep, we've seen the weakness of Fufophobius' composition here. It's great at sort of dealing with these team fights, but in terms of core pressure, they are lacking incredibly. You know, Mephisto is great against heroes as well as Maiev, but trying to burst down a core in these sort of situations, even at level 20, is going to be tricky. And the blue team holding out a defense here, 3 against 4 here. Garrosh is falling lower and lower. Sidonia trying to do it, but yeah, you're absolutely right. The minion damage is just incredible. Snowy trying to peel away, but with just minions, no catapults, and now a bunker, it looks like it's going to be game to Fufophobius as they stay champions for another week here in the Nexus Rumble Upper Series.
I mean, absolutely brilliant. This brilliant performance from Fufophobius, and again, look, Complex showed some really brilliant ideas here, and I think this game could have gone the other way, but for a few key team fights, a few key moments when Fufophobius just about stayed alive and then turned around. Because we saw that when they were chasing, when they were on the chase with the Blaze, with the Maiev, with the Malfurion, it was so easy for them to catch. And those kind of turnaround fights really went in Fufophobius' favor, and they just knew when to pull the trigger, synchronize the boss with that web weaver, got him marching at the top keep, punished Irel, punished Jaina, and that meant there was little wave clear left to deal with the core pressure that just mounted and mounted.
Yeah, Complex had such a big advantage in that early game as well. They were playing really well. Both teams did fantastically. Such a close series, but Fufophobius showing why they're the champions of the Nexus Rumble here, Karis. You know, the Nexus Rumble is hotly contested, and if you at home are a Division 1, 2, or 4 team and think you can maybe take these on, then feel free to sign up, as we have the Nexus Rumble every week on Sunday at 19:30 CST or CET.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget what I said earlier, that we do have the Heroes Lounge Open Community session in our Discord on Thursday at 19:30 CET, where you will be able to chat more with some of the Heroes Lounge staff. The idea of it is to have a more kind of direct discussion with the community about some of the decisions that are made, and really kind of explain the thinking that goes on in running the tournament. So if you've got any questions, definitely sign up for that, which you can do in our Discord.
Yep, this has been a great series today in the Nexus Rumble, so please, you know, I just can't express it. I mean, this has just been so good. These matches today could have gone either way for both teams. I'm really interested to see what Fufophobius have next week against any sort of opponent that steps up. But I think that's all we have for tonight. Karis, it has been a fantastic. Is there anything you want to say or promote any more here on the Heroes Lounge channel?
No, just, I mean, what a fantastic couple of series that we've seen today. And this is really, for me, what the Heroes Lounge Nexus Rumble is all about. It just absolutely brilliant series between teams that, you know, that really knew each other as well and really played their own strengths, but knew how to deal with their opponent's strengths. And there was a lot of mind games going on between these two teams as well. So it's absolutely phenomenal to see this kind of quality here as the Storm. It's been a delight to cast it.
Yep, it has indeed. We've had a great time here today, the Nexus Rumble, and thank you all for watching as well. This has really been phenomenal. So from us here at Heroes Lounge, we bid you a good night and see you hopefully next week.
Goodbye.